Welcome, my name is Keith Sanders and this is my channel, Not for the Weak Minded. This video is going to be about the shape of the universe, cosmological models, the shape of the earth, what true quote-unquote flat earthers believe, and essentially the evidence to support knowledge of creation. We do not live in an insignificant speck spinning in an insignificant, forever expanding universe. The tests prove it. What their tests also prove is a great deal of other things, which we are going to get into. Now this week, last week pretty much, Monday and Wednesday, I tried my best to do this presentation with a bit of extra in it to do with bank holidays and who created them. But unfortunately, my laptop, it's just too old now. And after 2 hours of talking to the laptop and showing you the screen, the encoder decided to not work properly and only half the video come out the first time and only half, pretty much, just over half, again come out the second time. So on Friday, yesterday, I bit the bullet and I went out and got a new laptop. So I'm very happy with the one I've chosen. It's very capable of doing what I want it to. And in the near future, I need to focus more on the map now, to be honest, than anything else. I need to get that finished, coloured in, and presented with further evidence that I found on the NASA website, which again, it's another video. Anyway, I'm waffling on. This is going to be a long video and I hope you enjoy it, okay? We're going to discuss again the axis of evil in cosmology. If you've never heard of it, it's not an anomaly like Wiki says, right? Because the people in power don't like the truth, even though they're trying to prove their own theories as facts. So let's get into it. So firstly, when I was at school, I was told that the Earth is a spheroid oblate because it's bulging at the equator because of the moon, which controls its tide, and quashed at the poles. Now, every shape has got a name. This is simple logic. We learned this as kids. So they tell us, right, because of the moon and the spin of the earth, right, that the earth shape should be a spheroid oblate. However, all the images we have see of the earth are the perfect circle, aka round sphere. Both of them are round, yes, but the shape and the name matters. So logic and reasoning here, simple logic and reasoning. They state one shape name but show you another. Yes or no. We'll get into this. As I said, it's simple logical arguments, right? And then we get into what is science and observations and repeatable experiments that prove the same thing over and over again, which their stuff does not. You need to go back in time, right, to understand the original arguments, which I've done videos about, and you can watch it on, people have already done it, they've even done it themselves. It's called The Principle or The Journey to the Center of the Universe. Is what it is. And that's all because of the studies, right? Trying to map the cosmic microwave background radiation to prove the Big Bang true or not. Now the fact of the matter is, right, I will repeat myself a lot in this, that they say that space is a vacuum in essence, and you can't really have a vacuum next to a pressure system, for one. But two, they also say you can't hear nothing, no sound in space because of the vacuum, and yet they are mapping the universe, right? Think about this, because there is an actual medium slash ether. It's just not what you think, right? So, back to this simple logical argument, right? What shape of the Earth do they show you? Now, before we actually get... This is a NASA article, and we're going to go to the NASA gallery, and all the images from space, right? Which are not, they're just CGI composites and other things which we'll talk about. So this article, literally, right, there's two shapes there, a sphere on Earth and a normal sphere. So they know exactly what shape the Earth is, right? They say it's a sphere and oblate, but they then show you it's a sphere, but then tell you that it's it's very insignificant, really, that the amount it actually oblates. Something's off, don't you think? So anyway, we're on the NASA gallery, and they a lot of these are fake, right? That's fake. It's not real. Rockets, right? Go look at the trajectories. I could have put that in this video as well, but I didn't. And they do lose fake, real images and fake images, right? To trick your subconscious. It's not real. It ain't real. You know. That's a real image. Let's click on that one. What's going on here? No, alright, forget it. Just wanted to click on it. Make it bigger. There we go. Do you see what it's titled? Look. There are a lot. So Polaris, right, is stationary. And the stars rotate around it. Goodness sake. Sorry. Right, there we go. The sun is 93 million miles away because space is fake, yeah? When you can go and look at planes flying in the clouds, watch out. Bit drastic, isn't it? So yes. I forgot what I was saying. Got distracted by that. This major drought coming, and famine, and all sorts of other things, right? So yes, the Earth, right, shape matters. Is that spheroid oblate bulging at the equator and pushed down at the poles because it's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator? No, it's not. So that was what I was saying. Sun's local to our field of view, right? And for example, this picture, right? In arid conditions, the sun does get smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes beyond the horizon. All depends on atmospheric conditions as well, right? Whether you see it or not, but that is the case. People film that. Secondly, when you're up in the clouds, right? You're literally got, I don't know how many videos I've seen now of people filming the sun in the cloud, you know? So there's much more we need to talk about these things, and it has to do with advanced technologies, which most people ain't ready for, let's be honest. So fakery, real images, and more fakery. It's up to you to decide which is which, right? And again, this is another example of, yeah, right, this is meant to be the ISS, which is obviously a fake image, right? But they have done in the past gone up to low Earth orbit, and again, there'll be a video near the end of this presentation. Again, it's not a short presentation, this, so please bear that in mind, that there's much to discuss and there's much to show, okay, about the universe and the shape of it and all the things that we believe, and the actual truth of knowledge of creation. Okay, so it's coming. Eye of Sahara. See, that's what they do. They do take images from low Earth orbit, and then they twist them to fit their, you know, that could be a real image from low Earth orbit with someone then capping it out to make it look like it's carving, and add an image there, right? Because I say, oh, people think, oh, I don't think there's things flying around up in low Earth orbit. I do. But are they doing 17,000 kilometers per hour while the Earth spins as well at 1,000 miles per hour, while the sun spins as well, and the universe spins at the same time? We're going to look at what that actually looks like, okay? The model of that, right? And you have to seriously think about your observations, okay? In the last, 6,000 years of history, where the stars have been. For example, there is a subject matter in its entirety that focuses on this, and it's called archaeoastronomy. Yeah, where archaeological sites, like a good example being Giza, align with the stars and have done for thousands of years, right? Something to think about. If we're doing all those top speeds, right, it's not likely that they're going to line up. So that was just the Earth, right? And the fact that they tell us one shape and show us another. Should we just quickly go over that again? Just sphere, spheroid should be a spheroid oblate, but they show us a sphere. Yeah, go to NASA websites. They know about the different shapes, but they show you what shape? The sphere. Okay? And you go, and there's people out there who go, yeah, but but it's so minuscule, it really is insignificant. Really. It's two different shapes. Just showed you. So anyway, in the presentation I did before this, and it never got to air, I did talk about Nicholas Copernicus and his model, heliocentrism. And again, that was still based on the perfect circle, you know? And even if you were to put the sun at the center of that system, it's still ludicrous, because you're going to put the spinning Earth at the center of, instead of the sun, and still have everything rotating around each other at ridiculous speeds. None of it's true, right? And yet, heliocentrism is not exactly the current model, is it? When you know that everything's apparently going around in elliptical orbits. Now, we'll discuss this again further on in the video and how it relates to atoms, yeah, and torus fields. So, moving on. Now we're going to move on to the moon, okay? And how the moon, for example, has its own light source. It gives off its own light, like sorry, energy, to the point where it's like colder in the moonlight than it is in the surrounding temperatures. So there's other experiments, and then there's lunar waves, which I've brought up in this video, just briefly to show you that potentially what we're dealing with is holographic projection technologies, as well as potentially a projection of what the Earth actually looks like as a reflection. There's two possibilities. It could be both, because, right, there's more than one moon now. Believe you me. Anyway, let's listen to this interview. You have probably heard this before, but this is for people that haven't.
Get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. One thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is plasma. Plasma phenomenon, cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you're proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profoundly decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it, the soft-landing attempts will all fail. That means that the mass of the moon is far less than is currently assumed. It's in a different state of energy, and it has far less mass. That means there is no more explanation for the tides. If the moon, for example, had only 1,000 part of its current mass, then the tides would only be 2 inches high, and the conventional theory instead of sometimes 14 feet. And that means that if it is proved that the moon is a plasma, then all gravitational theories are out, and the new concept of the cosmos and of its laws is to be evolved.
Correct.
It's adventurous though, because you know we're going to be able to test out your theories on the moon fairly soon.
Well, not anymore. 11 years ago, of course, it was rather taking a risk. I was considered a lunatic, of course. But by now, the evidence, accumulated evidence, is already so much in my favor, and I'm not taking any risk anymore. On the contrary, there is scientific views expressed all over the world now that the moon seems to be of a quite different nature than what was assumed.
The Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
Well, that will never happen. Not on the moon. On Mars, on Venus, and other planets, yes. But the moon is definitely, as I assert, plasma.
Okay. Alright. Let's just analyse that, shall we? People now probably screaming at the TV if they've got this far already, because they've proper just got a hissy fit about the shape of the Earth. Yeah, moon landing, was it real or was it hoaxed? Stanley Kubrick, yeah, filming it. CIA, California, I think. Hollywood, owning CIA, NASA, Werner von Braun being a Nazi, right, face of NASA. No deception here, is there? Of course there was. Just as bad as 9/11. But, people believe what they see on telly, don't they? Rather than actually thinking about, and thinking about it and then going looking for answers. So, on that note, if the moon isn't a rock and the Earth isn't bulging because of it, what's going on? I thought the Earth was a spheroid oblate with the moon, because the moon was, gravity, rock, floating, only one face to be seen at all times, different sides of it kind of flips itself somehow, for the other hemisphere, which isn't evidence of a globe, by the way. So what's going on? What controls the tides? If the moon isn't a rock, gravity is a lie, because there's other answers to that. Buoyancy and density is the key with electromagnetism and torus fields. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Yes, I am. Oh dear. So, moon, a mirage. Reflection of Earth's surface. Contends Monroe. Man. What do you think? Is there evidence out there to suggest that this might be truth? Who knows? Let's find out. What's this video called? Thank you to God Jev Lamanste. Fucking murdered that. Okay. It's 18 minutes. I hope you enjoy. I haven't watched it all. I've watched the first maybe 10 minutes. Let's get into it. Remember now, the Earth, I have told you before, if you're new to my show, the Earth has been mapped using the perfect circle, aka the Gleason map, or the equal distance azimuth projection. We're going to get into this near the end of the video about how everything works around us if everything's a lie. Yeah, which I'm telling you it is a lie, right? And there's evidence out there to prove that it's so, and that, well, I'm presenting most of it now, but there's much more than this to present, is what I'm saying. Way more. You know, you could have 9-10 hour video all about this one subject and how it incorporates, I ain't even done it, but geological principles as well, and history, right? How will this all come about, involving secret societies and the Templars and the royal elect. So, also, don't matter. Doesn't matter. Enjoy the video.
Hello. In this video, I will prove that the moon is a reflection of Earth. And secondly, we live on a gigantic ball. I came to this conclusion by assuming Earth is enclosed in a big mirror plasma ball. Give it a thought. Let's create a plasma ball. Put Mr. X into it. Mr. X is looking at himself. Let's spin Mr. X. This is what he is seeing. Put a light source on Mr. X. Now let's speed up the moon and put it next to Mr. X. But I have a problem now. I had to speed up the moon. Here are the moon phases for 1 month. And here for a year. Conclusion. The light needs 30 days to turn around the moon. And it takes only 24 hours to turn around Mr. X.
First of all, we are going to talk about this further, about understanding creationism and how it involves sacred geometry and the power of Tesla called Power 3, 6, and 9. Okay, the flower of life, Fibonacci sequence, and you know, maybe even ancient literature. But what we've been told, okay, it's definitely a lie. And what he's just said then about 30 days is perfection, for it is based on the perfect circle still. Okay? We're going to carry on.
If the moon is the reflection of Mr. X, how come the difference? Let's ask Mr. Einstein. It's all about the time dilation theory. Give me a minute to explain it to you. You have a light clock with two mirrors in the opposite direction and the light beam bouncing between the mirrors. So, you take two light clocks. One light clock is standing on the Earth. The second one you put on a spaceship. When the spaceship starts flying, the light beam will have to cross the distance the spaceship is flying. Therefore, it will take longer for the light beam to go from one mirror to the other. The faster the spaceship goes, the longer it will take, and therefore time will slow down in comparison with the clock on the ground. Here you see a computer image. The red ball is going faster, but time is slowing down. Here we see Mr. X turning, and we see his mirror image turning faster because it is on the outside of the circle and Mr. X is on the inside. On the left, we see Mr. X experiencing real time. On the right side, we see the mirror image slowing down due to time dilation. Mr. X sees himself in slow motion. Left, the Earth, right, the Moon. If the reflection of Earth is 30 times slower than Earth itself, that means if Earth is 5 billion years old, we are looking at the image of Earth being 170 million years old. Has life already started? So, if you take a telescope and you look at the moon, you probably won't see any humans running around. Now I will prove to you that we are living on a greater ball. What if Mr. X would wonder, hey, I'm always seeing the front of my face. How would the back of my head look like? Is it possible to see it? I would say yes, but we have to play a trick here. I will put a fly on the back of Mr. X, his head. What would the fly be seeing? It would be seeing the same light movements, but from the back. So, let's take the little ball theory. Let's take the United States. Let's presume that the USA is the front side of Mr. X. Then we take on the opposite side of Earth, we have Europe, and we would make that the fly side. So, what would the United States see as their reflection? They would see this. And what would Europe see as their reflection? They would see this. They would be seeing different moons. But everybody is seeing the same moon. Therefore, we must be all on the same side. But now, we face an even bigger problem. Because if the moon is our reflection, and we are all at the same side, we are all at the same moment in darkness or in daytime. To understand this, we have to put the sun into the equation. What is the sun? Well, for this I will make a
It is certainly not that, what is represented on the screen right now, is it? The sun. So we'll carry on for us in a moment, but I got to 6 minutes in, and I've not watched anything after this, so let's see what he has to say. Hear what he has to say with an open mind. Before I carry on, I am writing things down as I go through this video to carry on with further explaining a great deal of subjects which are not actually incorporated in this video presentation, but I have done before. So if you're not new to my work, you know what I'm talking about, and if you are new to my work, then there's something else to research that goes along with a new understanding of your reality, because that's what makes said, wasn't it? If the moon in Iraq, you got to understand the new concept, and new principles have to be created, because Einstein's wrong, because there's an ether, space isn't forever expanding because the axis of evil, the sun's local to our field of view, and so's the moon, and they might be projections or reflections. That's something to debate, isn't it? Or both, because there's an agenda to emulate creation. This is a very complex subject and video, and unfortunately it's not for everyone, which is why it's not for the weak-minded. So let's talk about great cycles, 3,600 years, how the perfect circle fits into that of 360 degrees, and how 30 is perfectly fit by 12, to make the moon perfectly perfect, 30 days, full moon, 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 like clockwork. There's a greater cycle of 36,000 years, and that is referenced in the Sumerian king list. And obviously, when you know about petrification and all the giant trees that have been chopped down in the landscape, right, turned to stone, you kind of get that the earth was much bigger in the past. And they tell you that, okay? They tell you the earth was much bigger in the past because they say the oxygen levels were much bigger, right? So therefore, the globe must have been massive during the age of when these trees were, growing. And again, the probability of it being a globe is unlikely, right? Therefore, bigger land means more, giant trees, so to speak, means larger life, and larger life means more land, and more land means it can't be what it's being represented as today, okay? When they say it's a spheroid oblate, I'm going to repeat myself over and over. When they say it's a spheroid oblate, but represent it as the perfect circle. So the perfect circle can be represented as a globe, but also the perfect circle, right, is how they map the Earth, with a grid system, and it was the Gleason model. Anyway, let's get back to this ball of hydrogen and helium that somehow creates a rainbow beam coming out of it. White sun. Similar.
Hypothesis. You don't have to agree, but it really makes no difference for the rest of the theory. So, you have the plasma ball being heated up by an outside source. The ball is heating up and forming a blister, a ball with heated plasma, boiling and turning around and shooting solar flares. So, Mr. X is sitting in the plasma ball, spinning around, and he will see the sun. The first time he will look straight into the sun. This will result in this image. Mr. X cannot see his mirror image because he is looking straight into the sun. But Mr. X will see the sun a second time. The moment when he is with his back at the sun, he will see the reflection of the sun in the plasma belt. So Mr. X will see this image. So, if I make an animation of this, this is the result. Now, if Mr. X thinks he is looking at the moon, he thinks, look, the sun is turning around the moon, or the moon is turning around the sun. Or if Mr. X realizes he is looking at his mirror image, he thinks, look, the sun is turning around me. Wrong again. Now I will analyze this image. I did a little experiment with real footage. So I have a spotlight. I have Mr. X cut out, and I have a mirror. When you are filming from the standpoint of Mr. X, your reflection is in total blackness due to the backlight. But when you are looking on the front, the face actually is receiving light. When I'm using a bowl, you can see it better. Here the reflection of the light, the reflection of the bowl itself. So you see the bowl is receiving light from the reflection from the mirror. So what I'm trying to say here is the reflection of Mr. X is in darkness, but Mr. X himself is not in darkness. So when you see the reflection of Earth becoming black, that is because of the backlight. This does not mean there is no light shining on Earth, aka the moon. So, Mr. X is receiving light two times. Once from the front, when he looks into the light, and the second time, when the light is reflecting in the plasma ball. This results in this model. Watch the little crater moving around. So why did I put a crater in the ball? I was observing the moon's surface, and I thought, meteorite impacts? No way. Now, that's more like it. But then you need air. Another reason to reject the idea that the moon is a rock in space. So let's take one air bubble and compare that with the moon craters. So let's take that air bubble again. Replace it with the flat Earth map. Put some water into it. You see that the North Pole is the eye of the vortex. Put that on a bigger ball. And then you see low tide and high tide. So now we end up with this. We have a bigger Earth, a small crater, and two suns. But we still have a problem. If you watch carefully, you see that one part of the crater is in constant darkness. So let's go back to the moon. Here you see.
Okay. What you just said, there's two suns going on this model, right? Using the moon. Is there videos, right, out there of people filming two suns? Yes, there is. So, how, if you're a fanatic globie, do you explain two suns? Obviously, they tell you there was two suns to begin with Nemesis, right, being it. But no. Maybe there are explanations to what we see, right? But like Matey said, we have to, okay, come up with them and find the answers in order for us to actually understand our own existence, because currently all principles are wrong, right? In fact, mathematically, okay, the current cosmological principles are out by 1 and 120 zeros after it, making it the biggest mismatch in scientific history. And they carry on believing a lie, even though their own tests prove otherwise and actually create a better model than their theory. It's really strange, these people. You know, they literally labelled the sacred alignment of Earth and space the axis of evil.
The images of the moon, but the moon is stabilized. Here you see the unstabilized movie. You can see that the Earth is wobbling. It's going up and down, up and down. So let's go back to Mr. X. Mr. X is spinning around, but he is also going up and down.
Okay, the answers to that are torus. We're going to get into this in a minute. The answer is torus fields, okay? And he's already said the answer, no magnetic North Pole and torus fields, but it's just that you're on a stationary Earth, yeah? And the sun and moon move around us in a torus field. Okay?
The sun is below him, above him, below him, above him. Now you see the sun is above the crater. The top side of the crater is dark. Now the sun is below the crater, and the low side of the crater is in darkness. Here you see the total image. Let's presume a drone is hovering above the crater. It would be seeing this. Now look at the upper side of the crater. Darkness, light. Now the downside, light, dark. So one part of our biosphere is receiving daylight from the reflected sun, and the other part of the biosphere is receiving daylight from the real sun. So, what would be winter and summer? I think the moon is making three movements: spinning, wobbling, and I think the third movement is slightly moving from its position. To be absolutely sure, you have to study the moon for 34 years to have 1 year in real time. Here I move Earth closer to the sun on one side, and now on the other side. Winter on one side, summer on the other, and vice versa. Here is the end animation. Instead of wobbling the Earth, I had a higher light and a lower light. That would give the same effect. Now we have the final question. Where exactly on the moon is the Earth situated? To examine this, I have taken one movement of the moon and I have lit up the dark side, so I can check out the movement. Now I can draw two lines wherein the Earth is moving. The bottom and the top. Watch the black spot on the right. Now I can put a red line between the blue lines, so that is the axis on which the craters are moving from dark to light. Only on this axis you have craters with the day and night of 12 hours. So on the left you see the white spot. That is crater Copernicus. On the right side you see a black spot. That is called Mare Crisium. So let's take Google Maps and zoom in. On the left you see crater Copernicus, and on the right Mare Crisium. So you have to draw an axis between those two. Then we will zoom in and look for planets. Oops, what is that? Exactly, on the place. I was looking for some craters that could be planet Earth. You see this. What is it? At first I was thinking, well, it's a cover-up. But now, when I looked at it for the second time, I see that they are actually changing the shadows. You see? Shadow on the right, shadow on the left, shadow on the right. Look at the smaller ones there. Are we living in a big hole or a small hole? I'm not sure. Time will tell. That's it. Now you can reject the idea of the plasma ball, or you can accept it. If you accept it, you will wake up on a bigger Earth. If you reject it, you can keep on dreaming of space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the New World Order Enterprise. Its continuing mission to invent new worlds, to destroy our lives and our civilization,
That's right.
to sell more lives than anyone has done before.
That's right. Crack it. Oh man, it's got much worse. Take a electric cars in there. Terrible as well. Absolutely bloody terrible. And a lot of people will end up doing that in the next few years. I'm on. And by that I mean commit suicide, sadly. Because they won't be able to bear reality anymore. So what do you think of that? So there's an entire concept based on this, that the moon is a reflection of a bigger Earth. We've just discussed that. And that it's not a rock that controls the tides. Okay? So it's up to you, the individual, to seek their own salvation in these times. And you don't really have to know everything to know that you're created and you've got a purpose, and your purpose could be just waking up one person or 10 people, or it could be something grand, that's been planned for you. Check out this channel if you're interested in more of that work, because this guy does great work. Vibes Cosmos. Okay, just kind of got into it there. The moon is a hologram. A cameraman even has proof. This man has spent years and years of his life filming the moon with a high quality of telescopes, and now he proves that all that research and all those films have convinced him that the moon is a hologram. He even has his own YouTube channel where he posts his videos and proofs of what he believes was made by the humans. He states that the moon is an illusion made by humans in order for us to believe in it and probably with a purpose to cover something greater and far more superior. The Skywatcher had his suspicions a long time ago, but after he caught a lunar wave, he is convinced that he has the proof that the moon is just a hologram. On this YouTube, we'll get into this more. Please wait. Please wait. Like, if you can only see the lineup, we're nowhere near finished. This is a long video. There's so much more to show you. So, lunar waves. Hang on, let me start. He says just a hologram. On his YouTube, he also posts videos about him explaining that he could always predict that the next lunar wave would come because the events are fixed. You can look for his account on YouTube by the name of CCrow777, and we got a video to watch by CCrow777, where you can notice that he is not alone in this. There are many other people out there filming the moon and seeing the same damn thing, which is what science is it not? When you got about 10-20 people that are doing observations using similar tech and they're reporting the same things, that's evidence, is it not? Just saying. To someone like me who actually goes and looks for evidence and tries to prove his own concepts and theories because everything else is a lie, which is the hardest part of this, to be honest. So, he claims that he has been relentless in his research and that he would not show something like this to the public if he was not that convinced about it. He talked to a lot of people that are also the watchers of the sky, and he says that some people are aware of this fact that the moon is a hologram, and it's fascinating. He also admits that he is aware of the trouble he gets himself into, but he says that it's all worth it in the end when the truth is real, because everyone living on this planet should know the truth. The response of his video and statements at first was that he had photoshopped his videos and he was sponsored this illusion in order to get people to believe it. Other scientists believe that the atmospheric pressure has caused this effect, yet he rejects all these theories and stands firmly on the discovery that the moon is a hologram because of the phenomenon called lunar waves. After his video gone viral, he was contacted by Russian scientists who have supported his theory and even said that the whole solar system is fake and it's non-existent. More and more people nowadays are starting to believe that the universe, the moon, and the whole solar system may actually be staged, and it's freaking people out. Like I said, this stuff involves advanced knowledge of technologies as well as knowledge of torus fields, well, knowledge of creation, which rests within inside of you, and is as those principles, so to speak, that rest inside of you are the same principles that govern our own existence outside, right? I.e., magnetic North Pole, Mount Meru, one torus field, two axis, just like an atom. So, there are plenty of people out there doing the work, okay, to try and explain the phenomenon in which we are seeing today, while the people that tell you the so-called truth scramble as much as possible to make shit up. So you just go, oh, is that what it is? Okay, alright. No worries. Don't worry about the pink rainbows bit in the sky. That's normal. So let's get into this. Let's make it big screen. Sorry. Now, I have done a video about this, haven't I? About how the moon, there's an object that's following the moon, and how it could be projecting the moon. Right? So let's play it. See? Thing is though, there are other videos that suggest when you look closer at this, there's more orbs. There's one there. There's one there, and I think there's one there. And basically, it's a triangle-shaped craft that's actually got a light source at this end. So perhaps it's inside the ship, and it's projecting something, or it's following it. That looks like it. See, this looks like a triangle-shaped craft. There's another object there. Do you see what I mean? This definitely looks like a TR-3B. Oh, I might have to take that and analyse it further. Another day. On video editing software. Another day. So, lunar waves. This is... No, they spelled it wrong. It's CR-RO-777. They put a C. C-RO. C-Crow. The C-Crow 777.
Original footage in the original size, it's untouched by me. I am waiting to hopefully get the original unedited clip, and if I get that, I will re-edit it and run that for everyone. There's the wave coming in on the left. Now, I'm going to make this a bit more visible, but if you look down under the wave as it travels, you'll see it traveling across the face of the moon, particularly on the second wave there. That camera pan was critical, and I'll show you in the next footage why. It proves that we're looking at a filmed event. Okay, so here we go. This is the full footage, but now I've enlarged it, and I've run some brightness, contrast, and other things to make it more visible. As we swing over the left side, the upper limb, the wave will come in on the left. There it is. Now, if you look down on the face of the moon underneath it, you can clearly see the wave traveling. As we always see, here comes the second wave. Now, this camera pan, right here, look, it did not affect that wave one bit. That proves that it has completely nothing to do with equipment. And at this point, we've seen enough lunar waves that those who have been paying attention and watching the evidence, we know what we're looking at here. All right, here's another view with some filters, and I tried to run it so that we could see the actual wave crossing the face. You're going to need a big screen and a good view, and again, all I have to work with here is the encoded small version, and hopefully the gentleman Weg will send me the original footage. If he chooses to do that, I will do a better edit than this. It's just difficult to re-edit, already edited video. This is a good view. What's cool about this for me is just how close the view is and the angle of the wave in relationship to the limb of the moon. We have not seen that before. So the view of the actual lip of the moon there and the angle that the wave is traveling is interesting to me. Here it comes again on the left, even a closer view. And here you can pretty easily see the wave traveling across the face of the moon. And there is the second wave, and for those who have followed, the waves always come in pairs. That is one of the distinct fingerprints that you're looking at a lunar wave. And here is a slightly reduced in size version with brightness, contrast, and some other
Looks like a giant footprint, doesn't it? There. Anyway.
things. And we're going to take one more look at this footage after this clip runs out. And then hopefully I'll be able to get the original footage. And if I'm able, I will try to do a more clear edit. And here's the last view. And I just want to thank the gentleman in Berlin. Thank you so much for taking the effort to do this. I know how hard it is to film the moon for hours on end. But you have totally added to what we know. This is a unique view of the lunar wave, and I thank you, sir, and thank you for allowing me to run the footage. At any rate, thanks to everyone.
So there we go. Lunar waves. What does it prove? Well, it's only not a rock, is it? That we can land on, as Matey said. So this is where it gets a bit messed up. Because there's a natural process of how things are working around us, which I've already tried to explain about torus fields and all that like. And then there's their attempt to emulate everything using technologies. So, and it's either A, that the original creation does involve technologies, advanced technologies, or B, that it's all part of something that's all encompassing, yeah, and that they're using technologies to emulate it. Really hard to work out, isn't it? That. But for the fact is that they are creating advanced technologies to emulate the sun and the moon and other things, Earth, light, the stars. They have plans, China. And there's so many images of two suns. I said, didn't I? Is there evidence of two suns? But is this what Matey's just described? Right? I don't think it is. I think this is something else. Nevertheless, what's it say? Crepuscular rays. Sunbulb replacement eclipses. I found a passage in the Bible that said in the end of days the moon itself will be brighter, seven times brighter than the sun, or something like that. Something ridiculous, So, and it's white light now, isn't it? It never used to be white light, the moon. So let me just read this little thing. In a sun-similar system, it is desirable to provide means for varying the intensity of illumination over a relatively wide range without changing the spectral distribution of the illumination. Mouthful, eh? So that the simulator may be used to simulate not only sunlight but also earth light and moonlight. In order to provide sufficient illumination to simulate sunlight over a particular large area, it is necessary to employ plural light sources, and it is desirable to control the intensity of illumination by varying the number of the light sources that are energized, thereby avoiding changes in the spectral distribution of the light output of the simulator and maintaining a relatively high degree of efficiency. It is also desirable to avoid localized field darkening effects caused by the selective extinguishment of the individual light sources, and to maintain uniformity of illumination over the entire field toward which the illuminator is directed. And that's linked to a NASA PDF. So they're up to something, aren't they? Holographic projection, real-time 3D display system and method. Yeah, okay. Maybe this hasn't nothing to do with the moon or sun, but we know light creates heat, don't we? We do. Yes, we do. China's artificial moon, the numbers just don't add up. An artificial moon to illuminate Chinese city during the night, saving hundreds of millions in electricity. Sounds like the stuff of sci-fi, and China's plans, says physicist Scott Manley, it's just that. Oh. Artificial moon to give people free energy. That's what I heard. What about a direct energy sun simulator to give people free energy? Or how about further still, Elon Musk's Starlink system, right? That creates a grid across the earth that's going to entrap humanity. So we can't even run from robots or whatever. We have to go underground. Right? Whatever. Free energy from Starlink. Space. Just beam down some direct energy weapons. So artificial moon plans. The numbers that they give us just don't add up. They talk about the spacecraft being 500 kilometers away, roughly 300 miles, which is fine. That's a low Earth orbit. Still in low Earth orbit, 300 miles. Hear that? Yeah. But then they talk about providing light for an extended period of time, and the problem is with that, at 500 kilometers up, satellites are moving very quickly, and if you see a satellite, it moves across the sky in a few minutes, so they would only be able to direct light at a single point for a few minutes at a time. And that means if you really want to give light to a city, you need multiple satellites, and satellites also need to be able to track location on the ground. Starlink? The Russians obviously tried this back in the 1990s, and they didn't even adjust the angle of their illumination. They created a bright spot on the Earth that would move along at 7 kilometers per second. So you had, I know, look into that. So you had to chase it if you wanted to get sustained brightness. Otherwise, you would just see a flash of light for a second. Geostationary orbit of 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. Do you know I just mentioned 3600 being a key number in the creation? Yeah, just sacred math. And there's the number right there. It's conventionally, whoa, the magic distance at which it could stay over a single area of the Earth. I wonder where the sun is. I wonder if there's a sun that's actually projecting our sun. It's 36,000 kilometers away. Something to think about, isn't it? Something to definitely think about. We know this place is bigger. I just told you. Of course it is. If the moon's a reflection of the Earth, it has to be. So basically, this was meant to happen 2 years ago, by the way. China was meant to put up this artificial moon. It's now 2022, and I've looked and I can't see anything about it. So the project obviously hasn't gone to plan yet. My point being is, right, you may have just mocked me for showing you A, patents, and B, fucking, you know, NASA document, but China's doing it as well. It's not just one government doing it. There's a global agenda here. This is interesting. So apparently the moon's bulge reveals its slow retreat from Earth. Oh dear. Okay. Reflectors placed on the moon during moon. Oh, they didn't go to the moon. So fuck off. There we go. Done. It's taking the piss. Now, we are going to talk about, briefly, these 3 experiments and what they proved. Okay? Secondly, near the end, we're also going to talk about why they represent the shape of the universe as an egg or oval. While I also tell you, Pro 4 then, all the different models of the current different models of the universe, right? So there's more than one. You think, oh no, there's the one theory that fits best. Well, that's not the one we've been told either. Okay? Because, well, experiments like these prove the opposite. Prove that there must be, one, a medium or an aether in space. 2, that the universe is not forever expanding. Therefore, the Big Bang is a load of baloney. Yeah? And therefore, anything based upon that cosmological principle, yeah, is a lie too. I.e., the Earth being a spinning spheroid oblate. Yeah? Let me show you a globe. Very, very off, if you ask me. Just those simple things. I don't know how simple it would have been for them just to do it as a spheroid oblate. They know what it looks like. I showed you the document, haven't I? NASA knows what a spheroid oblate looks like compared to a sphere. So I have done a video on these, so I am going to blip through this. If you are interested in this, please look for my content. One of my videos, a couple of my videos is about this. One's 15 minutes, another one's about an hour. But Planck satellite confirms WMAP findings. Universe is not Copernican, i.e. it's not heliocentrism with the sun at the center of the known universe. No, Earth is at the center of the known universe, which is why I said at the beginning, right? You can't just put a spinning Earth at the center of the universe and expect that to be the answer either, because that's not true either, because the Earth's stationary and stars rotate around us, right? More, by the way, everything I'm putting up for you now, I will leave in the description box. So every single link I'm showing you, it will be in the description box. So if you want to read it, you know, if I've skipped over something you wanted to read, please read it yourself. Planck reveals an almost perfect universe. So that's the two things I showed you, right? I've literally just showed you. Yeah, Kolbe was the first one. WMAP and Planck. Well, that one's confirmed it wasn't Copernican, and this one's just confirmed, which is ongoing, that it's well, there's more now. There's more. There's near the end. I'll show you another one that and it's just a little bit brief bit by BBC saying you, I think Copernican's wrong. Yeah? Right. And if you still want to carry on going down that path thinking you've been told the truth, that's on you now. Right? If you're willing to watch this entire video and learn, well done to you. I appreciate that. Please leave a link. Please leave any links that you think is, you know, worth leaving. I'm always learning from you too, the viewer. Always. And although I haven't done videos recently, I have learned a great deal from comments. And please comment about how you feel about these subjects, even if you know you're an avid global believer. You know, you must understand you must have to go through the Kubler-Ross model of grief, the stages. Yes, you're going to get angry. Yes, you're going to be in denial. Okay, but eventually you'll find acceptance, and that is just accepting what just is. The facts. Okay, over theory. Lastly, so Planck reveals an almost perfect universe, and yet they represent it using an oval. Why? If you know the answer already, please tell me in the comments, because we're not going to get to the answer for a while, to the end. Or better still, obviously I might be doing this as a premiere. I will be doing this as a premiere, so let me know now what you think. Why the universe is being represented as an oval. Yeah. It's interesting. You'll find out. Earth may be at the center of the universe. So I've done a video literally reading this, and this is a different entire one that's not even on the list there. Kolbe, WMAP and Planck, which is the Sloan Digital Sky Survey. There's another one, but it obviously incorporates the Planck data too. Confirms that the Copernican model of the universe is faulty. So here we are. We're going to watch this quick video. Unless you want to read, by all means. So these are the three different types of systems. Is the universe flat? And then it represents the flat universe. Or is it a closed universe? Or is it a open universe? So please enjoy the video. It's not long.
You've probably learned by now, or heard on one of many TV programs, that after the Big Bang occurred, the universe expanded. But what shape did it become? Did it dilate like a balloon into a sphere? Maybe it simply rolled out into a flat sheet. Perhaps it became shaped like a saddle.
This lesson will go over 3 major models of the universe, which one is believed to be correct and why. One model of the universe, which was considered by many in the 20th century, is known as the closed universe. The closed universe is a universe where space-time is curved back on itself, one that has a finite size but no center and no edge. It is said to have positive curvature. So, this model is like an orange. It's spherical and it clearly curves around. But like an orange, it has a finite volume. However, because it curves back on itself, there can be no edge and no center. The latter point may be difficult to understand. You're probably thinking, an orange does have a center. How could this model not? To help you understand this concept, you have to imagine that you are actually a two-dimensional being walking on the surface of a closed spherical shape, like the Earth, Moon, or even our orange. Because you are two-dimensional, you don't know of an up or a down. You can only go left, right, forwards, and backwards. If you were to walk around on the surface of the moon in this fashion, you'd eventually cover the moon with footprints and realize that you live in a finite universe since you've already been everywhere. However, precisely because you've walked everywhere without finding an
Oh, unbelievable. They want me to create an account to watch this video. Fuck that shit. It was a load of bollocks. Shall we analyse the fucking first bit? Try that again. Right? Ah. Bullshit. What a load of shit. Oh well. Moving on. Our universe, excuse me, might be a giant three-dimensional donut. Really? Before I read this, even with an enclosed infinite system, right, that doesn't fairly fit something that's forever expanding in an infinite forever expanding infinite universe. Now, if you know exactly, I haven't brought it up, should have, exactly what the Big Bang Theory looks like as a general hypothesis, you know, universally speaking, right? Clearly, there's a problem, you know. But the universe is a giant torus, and they call it a donut. Oh, you laugh. Imagine a universe where you could point a spaceship in one direction and eventually return to where you started. If our universe were a finite donut, then such movements would be possible, and physics could potentially measure its size. We could say, now we know the size of the universe. Astrophysicist Thomas Brugert of the University of Leiden, astrophysicist, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they can. But all their concepts are still based on the Big Bang, right? But they're showing you the truth in plain sight. Oh, it involves torus fields, okay? Calling it a donut, so you laugh. They use deflection through comedy, while showing you the truth in plain sight. And at the same time, right, those three that I've just showed you, these three things, yeah, they matter. It changes your interpretation of everything, okay? Why? Because it proves, yeah, that the universe is not forever expanding, which therefore it must be enclosed. Just like the Earth itself must be enclosed because there's space is water, right? And therefore you need a different understanding of everything. Moving on. So they're taking the piss. In my mind, Einstein's wrong, right? Because he didn't, even though he did originally in his equations include the aether, so there's a bit the space having a medium, not being a vacuum, right? He took it out, but more so he probably got told to take it out, and therefore all things are wrong. The universe is not as the ages say. All this stuff about space travel and light years and all that, it's nonsense. Complete and utter crap. Cannot land on planets either, just like Matey said, oh, perhaps you can land on Venus and Mars and that. No, you can't, okay? Because of principles called sonoluminescence, which is light, sound in water creates light. Torus fields. So, universe might be oval shaped. They're even hinting at it, right? Instead of being perfectly round like a globe. Well, I thought the Earth was meant to be a spheroid oblate anyway, not perfectly round like a globe. The universe might be a bit stretched in shape like an oval. The newly proposed shape could be caused by a magnetic field that pervades the entire cosmos and affects in the fabric of space and time, researchers said. Right. Alright. Do you know there's been many more things to come, and I do hope you stay tuned, because everything that these things are saying can be answered via the understanding of torus fields, okay, and how that creates elliptical orbits, alright, but it doesn't necessarily mean the universe in its entirety, right, is oval shaped when everything else in reality is based, what to do with creation, it's based on the perfect circle. 3,600 years, 360 degrees in a circle. You know, again, we have to start again. So they're saying it could be, but then they bang on about the Big Bang, right? Just said. You know, everything we've been told is based on a lie, foundation of crap. And you'll find out why in the end. Them banging on about the universe, particularly universities and all that shit, you know. Scientists banging on about the universe being oval-shaped is because it has pagan origins. Here we go. The universe is an egg. That's them. And the moon isn't real. Notes from a Flat Earth conference. Just more mockery. And then people look at that image and they go, that's real. How could people not believe that? They've been to the moon. Look, it's a real image from the moon. No, it's not. If you use software, right, you'll find out that image is very fake indeed. Also, if it was real, where the fuck is all the satellites reflecting from the sun? Why is it then, if the sun's 93 million miles away and it's meant to be hitting the Earth, right? Why isn't it illuminating anything else but the Earth? Huh? Should be going right past everything. It's almost like there's a lens. Yeah? So yeah, there was the 3-hour presentation which contended that the universe is just a giant egg. There was a man... See, there is something to this, by the way. Way more than most people could imagine. But anyway, there was the Manchester musician who posted that the Earth is the shape of a diamond, and another who believes the moon is a projection. You know? Ah, laughable. Ha ha ha. Truth and lies. Anyway, I'm not bothered. The fact is that the people that are there's many flat earthers out there that are just controlled opposition outright. They don't actually know like anything that like really, because a lot of them are using the biblical. We'll show you in a second soon, but yeah, they're using the biblical model. Well, then that's not really real right either. Like, you know, yeah, all right, there's a dome, but how is the dome up exactly? You know, where's the perfect place for the sun, for the light source? 3600 fucking, yeah. Apparently that's the second dome then, isn't it? So what if the first sun could be 3,600 miles up? Just perfect math. I know people have done estimations that it's about 4,000 miles. Something to think about, isn't it? How the perfect circle relates to how high the sun potentially is. This is the things you gotta connect. So anyway, there are multiple hypotheses or theories about where the reality and how things work, okay? And many great channels out there, including Norb's World, but he's gone from YouTube. I tried to find his channel earlier and it's not there. So if you know where Norb's gone, please leave a link in the description. I appreciate. I want to keep following him. He comes up with some good concepts, right? Just like FPV Angel does as well. There are many great channels. I'm just trying to do my part, okay? In trying to use the core principles of our existence and incorporate it into a new understanding of our reality and how things work, and how basically we need to start again because everything's based on a foundation of lies. And do you know how long it's taken me to actually work all this shit out? A long time. It's not just me, is it? It's everyone putting it together. You know, like people's lifetimes work has been dedicated to working out the truth, including biblical archaeologists, right? Like Ron Wyatt. So let's watch this.
To the quick version of the Norb theory. If you guys find this interesting, I urge you to watch the full version. The link's in the description. So, a lot of controversy. Is it flat? Is it round? Are we spinning? Is there a curvature? Here's another theory. It kind of mixes both. Ancient Greek, Norse, and Hindu cosmology all focus on an orb as the universe. And after watching enough flat earth videos and a couple of these, I went down the rabbit hole of the cosmic egg. And after watching Martin's video, shout out to you, bro, I decided to make a 3D version presentation of the whole thing with my own couple spins. I urge you to watch his videos too. Links will be in the description. So let's walk through how this universe may have started. Step 1. Out of the void, the Holy Trinity gets created. Birth, life, death. Repeat. Step 2. The Holy Trinity creates its womb to protect itself from itself, the void. Then the Trinity separates into 3. Positive, neutral, and negative. Next step, the cosmic vortex is created. This gives us our oscillations, our weather, our currents, our airflow, etc. Then, our actual Earth, the rock, a 3-level pyramid on both sides. We are on the 3rd plane. This gives us our 4 elements of life: air, earth, water, and fire. Up above, the galaxies and the stars and the firmament are put in place. Next, we have our toroidal fields. These electromagnetic fields protect and separate all the lands. They also oscillate at different speeds, giving us all our rotations of the different planets. Next, the suns and moons are put in place. 3 suns, 3 moons, with Mercury in the middle, acting as both a sun and a moon. And there you have it, Earth, the universe, within a multiverse, within a masterverse. We can't get past lower Earth orbit. That's that first toroidal field to the lands of Mars and Venus. The Antarctic is not the South Pole. The Antarctic is the perimeter around that first toroidal field. When they say they're going to outer space, it doesn't mean up. It doesn't mean to land on stars. You can't do that. It means to go outside the perimeter to outer lands. When they talk about alien life forms or other life forms, it means coming from these other lands. So who knows what's beyond those perimeters? That could be the land of the aliens. Maybe we're the aliens. Maybe the outer perimeter has even more life forms and resources and inhabitable land.
Quick note. If we are indeed encapsulated at the center of the earth, and as they say, God rests at the center of the earth, then indeed we are the closest species to God, because it rests at the north. Right? Mount Meru, Hyperborea, we're going to talk about this in a moment. Yeah, we're also going to talk about more land beyond the poles. Okay? This model is actually very, very close to reality, I feel, but we certainly do live in an enclosed system. Right? This is my point, and it definitely works around the perfect circle, sacred geometry, vortex math, Fibonacci sequence. Right? We're going to carry on.
Maybe some of us already get to go there. One thing's for sure. If this is true, I can see why you want to hide it. The resources on these planes are obviously limited if this is all designed. If there really is a dome above us, and we're stuck here, and we can prove it, then the first thing we'll want to do is break out, figure it out. Why is it here? Why are we here? Who built this? Next, the religions will probably all claim they were right.
Yeah.
Next,
Well, they vaccinate
chaos,
their masses.
panic. The elite have done a great job at divide and conquer campaigns over the last generations.
Put pictures of the fucking globe on the wall while there's evidence of the earth being created, right? Take all the money and be greedy as hell and sinners, right? Deceiving the masses further into oblivion, even though the truth is in the palm of their hands. Well, it can lead to it, at least.
Now,
A better understanding of the creation and how you can reinterpret it into something new, like this channel.
it's down to gender wars, identity wars, regional wars,
Yes, mate.
resource wars, and the
Preach.
most important, the war on your mind,
Soul.
body, soul,
Yeah.
spirit, perceptions, indoctrination,
Yeah.
who you think you should become, and what you should spend your life doing.
That's right.
We're not unified, and that's the last thing we want. This scares some people. This makes others laugh. They'll continue believing we're spinning on a ball, defying
Word up,
all
mate.
kinds of logistics. But okay,
We've been poisoned.
the cool thing though is we're having a mass awakening. All the holy books pretty
Great
much tell the
awakening.
same story, just giving all the
Great
variables
revealing.
and planets and suns and moons their own names and actors and stories to go by.
Okay, apocalypse.
Being in the arts for the last 25 years, while my whole life really, but professionally for 25 years, I understand one thing's for sure about music, art, feelings, and this world itself, and that's frequencies and oscillations. And we all come from a sine wave, operate in oscillations and cycles, and so does this planet. It breathes, it goes through cycles, it goes through patterns. The suns and moons go through multiple oscillations at the same time. This model also explains lunar and solar eclipses rather easily. Rainbows, color theory, etc. also rather easily. The point of this, if any, don't let it scare you, even if all of it is true. If anything, this should help you at least gain some knowledge, become a little more illuminated, and understand your life, your body, your mind, your soul is also a big oscillation.
We are. He's telling the truth. The only problem is with the model is there's the 88 constellations, which are fixed stars, and then you've got the rest of the stars, like the universe itself, pretty much, like going around us as well. So the fixed stars, as you know, they keep going back to the same place time and time again, right? The constellations. And then there's beyond that as well, which is basically like outer space, right?
Machine. And you should be oscillating every single day at your full potential. So that if this next life, previous life, we are our own ancestors thing is true, you can ascend in your next lifetime to becoming your own star of stars.
Only time you could ever learn the truth is now, in the age of information, the beginning and the end. Because once you do learn it, you become the beginning of the golden age. Yeah, we can have free, clean, wireless energy, cures to all diseases, using knowledge of creation, etc. Say water, properties of sound.
I had my eyes closed, my ignorance was
Something to think about, isn't it?
slow as I replaced it with my fist. Now I'd rather know and rise from this.
Either way,
now that I'm
something here.
consciousness, I had my eyes closed. Ignorance was bliss. Now I'm being followed for spreading these messages. The threats might.
I do recommend looking at, if you can find his channel somewhere, his content, Norb's World. There's other people, there's look, that was just the short version. Look, there's loads of different ones here, an hour and 20 minutes if you want to digest more of that, you know, where they got the information from, how they've incorporated that information from ancient cultures to current understandings of their observations. I'm a little bit different than them in a way, because I'm actually taking scientific experiments as well, and then using that to try and rebuild a reality, and yet they're still tricking us by saying it's oval, because that concept itself comes from dodgy roots. But there's just more infinite plane. So if you typed in flat earth infinite plane, these are the type of things you're going to get. People's ideas of maps and lands beyond the poles. And now I'll show you a video from my Facebook. That's my Facebook profile, Keith Sanders. Feel free to add me as a friend, by all means. You'll see that my profile picture is of the mount. You'll see this map in a minute anyway, but Monty's World Map, and behind it is a picture of Mount Everest, not Everest, Mount Hood. Some picture around Antarctica proving that, you know, we can see those mountain tops, and there's no curvature. So you get my gist. Oh, did it again.
That's where we are. Earth. So-called Earth. Let me see. This is where I feel like we. Where do I feel like we from? Where I think the chosen few are from. Where is it at? Where is it at? There's Anunnaki land. So you know why we so close to the Anunnaki? You always hear about them. They right next door. But I'm looking for another place, family. Lands of angels. Land of Vega. Look at this, family. Look at this. It's the map of where we live.
So, very shows you more close-ups. Bear in mind that I've just showed you that potentially the moon is a reflection, right, of the Earth, and that if we are maybe on a tiny crater compared to the size of the moon, yeah. However, if you look at Vibes of Cosmos, we do the landmass is considerably. Have I got an example? I might have. Hold that thought about showing you another picture of Vibes of Cosmos work mixed with another guy's work. But anyway, the infinite plane reality. Yeah, this is it. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in terror domes, so to speak, but there's more land beyond, and there's more places to visit, etc. And therefore we can't exactly live on something that's, you know, a spheroidal plate spinning and something that's forever expanding or whatever, because all these systems are created.
The Terradome.
Right?
There's Nibiru, Marduk, Land of Zeus, which is Jupiter. That's what I thought it was. The Custodians. Lands of Orion. We're on Orion's belt. I'm kind of wondering, I kind of think this is where the Most High's home is. It's got the purple around it. Purple is color of royalty.
Just something more to look into, right? That there's various different models of using the current understandings, right? Other than what we've been told, obviously, you know, to make a different model of our own reality. I ain't saying that's true, you know, but someone's got, you know, someone created that, more than likely from something, right? Just like there's maps that generally are out there. This is someone's creation, but they've got it from somewhere, haven't they? So the infinite plane goes into this model, whether they knew that or not, doesn't it? With all the different levels, we're there, different ones, and yet, you know, it's the perfect circle still. How many domes exactly, you know? How many enclosures? Because Space F can't, you know, it's got to be, it's either A, the torus field can keep it up, or, which is unlikely, or B, there's a dome, which they say in the Bible anyway, it's, you know, glass dome stretching across the sky, etc. So, if you've made it this far, and you still think by now that, oh, but I think it's something like this, right? When I've just showed you everything's a lie. They're lying just on the shape of the earth. There's more, you know, there's way more evidence out there to prove that, you know, there's people out there deceiving you, yeah, but there's plenty of other people out there proving that those people are deceiving you. You just got to build a foundation based on facts, not theories. So, do we believe this is real? Or like this flat disc floating in space? No, we don't. Do we think this is real? And the heliocentric model, yeah, still, I've just told you, it's been proven wrong. Big Bang then is wrong. So this is based on the Big Bang. This is what we're told at school, right? That if the things are doing ridiculous speeds and all that, right? This is what it would look like. It's nonsense. Do you agree now? So what answers do we need? Well, from the simple atom, cell, animal, plant, person, planetoid, right? Not real, but plane. Yes, everything in our existence as the torus field, and they say the galaxy, obviously, like, you know, but even everything in the universe works because of the torus field or toroidal fields. These forms are easily recognizable in many of nature's most powerful and simple creations. Whirlpools and tornadoes, apples and tree trunks, the earth, the sun, the entire galaxy are all examples of a torus energy field. So, if you don't know what about this subject, please by all means research it. Everything is a torus field. Each atom and everything on the planet, I hate that word, is surrounded by its own energy field known as the torus. This self-sustaining balanced dynamic energy flow process, i.e. something that has perpetual motion, is the base for everything powerful on the Earth, consisting of a single axis and 2 vortices. So there's the torus. An example of a torus. There's another example of a torus. That donut I showed you earlier, there's an example of a torus. They're showing you truth in plain sight. Well, you continually believe that the Earth is what it is, when it ain't. So anyway, why am I doing all of this for? Well, I got this video where I'm showing you my artwork of my maps on the wall and my drawings of sacred geometry to basically prove that we've been lied to, right? That's why everything's on my walls. There's no sound in this. I didn't speak. I just showed the work. For the fact is that if I really was to give it beans like I am now, well, it's going to be a very long video standing there with a bloody hot phone radiating my hands. So I kept it shortish, and I just want to pause it here for a moment. Now, before we carry on, I've just showed you that, didn't I? The torus field, bear the shape in mind, yeah, this. Because this image, right, is the map I created myself, you know, reverse engineering the globe by putting it back into the perfect circle, because they created the globe model using the perfect circle, aka the Gleason map, or the equidistance azimuth projection. Okay, this here, albeit, you know, you can see it's not clear for you to see that they're 2 different colors there, but there's the sun movement and the moon movement for the entire year. And what does it look like? One big giant torus, doesn't it? So that's the year movement, okay, for the sun and the moon. That is above our heads, right? Roughly 4,000 miles. That oscillates between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, like the globe model states. Yeah? Okay? That's how the seasons work. It's as simple as that. Unfortunately, right? We will get into this more in a minute. But this entire map, albeit it's still truth in plain sight, it's not the truth, is it? Because they've omitted hyperboreal landmass at the center of the Earth, aka where God rests, where the torus field is emitted from, because we're all connected to this torus field. Yes, at the center of the Earth, everything is connected to the torus field at the center of the Earth, and that itself has an intelligence within it that can see everything and hear everything and knows exactly what's going on to judge our character. That's what it's there for. It's like very important information, really, isn't it? If you ask me, that they're hiding evidence of God at the center of the Earth. And people look at you funny when you say that, because they got no concept of what you're really talking about. Really. It happened when I picked up the laptop, because I went there after work and I had my flat earth high vis on, right? And I got surrounded by curries and PC employees, you know? They were asking me all sorts of questions, and I just got my phone out and was like, what about this? What about that? Look at this, look at that. Yeah, think about this, think about that. You need to research this, you need to research that. Pretty much what I'm doing now in this video, right? Again, How important is knowledge of torus fields now, and toroidal fields, and it's in everything, right? And it's a key principle of our existence, okay? Which is why they're laughing at people when they, carry on believing a lie, where they say, yeah, the universe is donut. They're just saying the universe works principles of the torus field. Same as the same principles as the sun and the moon, rotating around us. And what did I say? It's about the atom. Single axis, two vortices. So this is how it works. It's two vortices and a single axis. So now you can imagine this at the center, even though it's not the center. Like here, for example. Oh, my bad. So there we go, this one. Maps from the 1500s. I'm sure you've seen this before, right? I'm sure a lot of the things I'm saying, if you follow me, is you already know, But it's always nice to affirm what you believe in, I'm sure. Because even though you know the truth, sometimes you go through periods of doubt. Land on ancient maps that don't exist anymore because they omitted it from them when they created the current map. Yes? Therefore, again, the Earth's bigger and it can't be a spinning spheroid oblate. The only reason everything works around us is because they've mapped the Earth using the perfect circle, allowing them, right, to create a grid system to then give authority to an artificial intelligence to manipulate the weather. Yeah, and we say there's nothing new under the sun, and things happen, but because things go in great cycles. It's kind of true, I think. All the things happening now have happened before, and there's evidence for it. Yeah? This is the kind of concept you have to get into. The fact that the things happening now around us have been before, just on a much larger scale. Those people, they're coming up from hell now for revenge. Because they hated the fact that they've been, they hated creation, hated God, was deceived their entire life by Satan, refused to wake up, was deceived into doing bad things in the name of good by Lucifer. So there we go. That's what it's all about. And then obviously later on after that, those people that didn't even get to be judged by God because they got themselves removed from this entire system through soul transfer technologies or consciousness transfer technologies. And they were in a coma, so what better life in it? If you're in a coma and you keep your life, you may as well enter into a fucking virtual world and you're forever, not knowing that you're never going to come out, and you're in a new world that they designed. Still created though, innit? That would piss you off even more if people rubbed that in the face. You entered this world because you hated creation, and now you're fucking in a world that they created. Because they hate creation too. Again, massive amounts of information about these subjects. I am just briefly going to go over them. What is sacred geometry? Research the flower of life. Okay. The Fibonacci sequence. Nature's little secret. Everything's got the Fibonacci sequence in it, and you can have Fibonacci half circles like this, and you can have a Fibonacci circle. So the Fibonacci circle can create the perfect circle as well. Just bear that in mind, because they only show you the half circles on purpose, because they don't want you to know that the perfect circle. You can make the perfect circle out of the Fibonacci sequence. Don't worry, there's evidence for it. So Fibonacci in humans. Simple observations confirms that Fibonacci numbers are represented by many human parts: one trunk, one head, one heart, etc. Then there are a pair of arms, legs, eyes, ears. 3 is represented by the number of bones in each leg and arm, and the 3 main parts of the hand: wrists, metacarpus, and set of fingers, consisting of 3 phalanges, main, mean, and nail. And again, there's golden ratio within everything, right? So nature, all of nature has got this code, yeah, mathematical code, including us, and you think you're not created. The only reason that is because, one, you've not done the research to think, and you're not thinking clearly because you're being drugged by the water you drink and the food you eat, and 2, you refuse. You know, most of people that you show the truth to, they refuse to believe it because they'd rather live in fantasy, right? Yeah, all the evidence out there proves that there's a creator. Fibonacci in humans, Fibonacci in all life, torus fields in everything. What does it prove? It proves intelligent design, does it not? Someone designed us, and therefore we're not really, right, living in an insignificant place now, are we? When I've just told you we're not. We are at the center of the known universe, which is rotating around a stationary Earth because of torus fields and Mount Meru, the magnetic North Pole. Right? Right there. Yeah? I don't get it. It's like, it's hardcore evidence that people just want to ignore in favor of lies. So this is something new. It's 15 minutes long, but it involves the Fibonacci sequence and a thing called Pisano numbers. But in this video is by Jacob Yapskull. So I hope you enjoy. I enjoyed this. This was so fascinating. Like, what you got to bear in mind is I am trying to show you that all these things work together. There is absolutely a theory of everything, right? Contrary to belief. And these are the things you need to learn in order to know. Like, there's connections to Fibonacci sequence. There's connections to the perfect circle, aka sacred geometry. There's connections to torus fields, yeah. Sound, vibration in water is another key principle. We're not even getting to there yet, but we will. Solar luminescence. These are a few key principles to understand how everything works around us. Well, they continually lie and ignore these things. So, 15 minutes.
Finding ways to visually represent mathematical concepts can be a great way for people to further understand those concepts, and to get people who aren't as open to looking at equations and numbers to give mathematics a second chance if their first approach in school didn't seem that exciting. The Fibonacci spiral is one of, if not the, most referenced visualization of a math concept in contemporary culture. You probably see it everywhere because it's relatively simple to understand. Take the Fibonacci sequence, make squares that have side lengths as long as the numbers in the series, cluster them around each other and draw arcs of a circle throughout, and voila, you have your golden spiral. Or perhaps you simply like to flip through the graphs of all the connecting lines, also known as diagonals, of different regular polygons, which trace out mandala-like patterns for your personal use. Or maybe you want to express the numbers in each row of Pascal's triangle as stacks of binary squares to produce vaguely alien-looking shapes that could inspire creatures and enemies for possibly an 8-bit adventure game. There's a lot of potential creativity that can go into making math more visually accessible and interesting, and it's always good to have more people appreciate math and understand more how it can help them in their daily lives. For this video, I want to show you another way we can manipulate the Fibonacci sequence to create some more interesting designs. These designs are related to a concept associated with the Fibonacci sequence called a Pisano period, which I'll walk you through quickly before we get to the actual drawing of the designs. So in order to understand Pisano periods, we have to understand the modulo operation. The modulo operation finds the remainder after you divide one integer by another. So if you remember when you learned about division, you probably learned about dividing a number, let's say 11, by a divisor, let's say 5. The result, also known as the quotient, was 2, because you could subtract 2 5s out of 11, and the remainder, or whatever's left over, is 1. So the remainder is 1 after dividing 11 by 5. We can write this another way by saying that 11 modulo 5 is equal to 1. The number that we're dividing by to find the remainder, which we previously called the divisor, is now called the modulus. Keeping this in mind, we can evaluate something like 14 modulo 3. We subtract 3 as much as we can from 14, and when we're done, we have 2 left over. So 14 mod 3 is equal to 2. If we try to evaluate 14 mod 5, we can subtract 2 5s from 14 and get a remainder of 4. But if we evaluate 15 mod 5, we can subtract 3 5s and get a remainder of 0. This shows us that the remainder's value is always going to be between 0 and 1 less than the modulus. We can see this if we took a regular number line and applied a consistent modulus to every number on it, let's say 3. We would notice that the resulting sequence would cycle through the remainders 0, 1, 2, and then repeat itself forever. And this should be expected since on the number line we're just adding 1 to each next step. You can see how the remainders form a natural loop of sorts, and this holds for any modulus you use on the number line. Now this is where the Fibonacci sequence comes into play. The Fibonacci sequence is made by starting with 0 and 1, and then each next term is the sum of the two terms before it. So the sequence continues with 0 plus 1 equals 1, 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, 3 plus 5 equals 8, 5 plus 8 equals 13, and so on. Let's substitute our number line with the Fibonacci sequence and see what happens when we divide by a common modulus of 3. As before, we get another repeating sequence, and this time the sequence is 0, 1, 1, 2, 0, 2, 2, 1. This also works if we take the Fibonacci sequence mod 4. The resulting looping part is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. And it works for 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and actually it works for every modulus, just like with the regular number line. Every modulus results in a sequence of looping remainders. These sequences are said to be periodic, and the length of each looping part of the sequence is known as the Pisano period. The Fibonacci sequence mod 5, with the resulting loop of 20 terms, would be said to have a Pisano period of length 20. If you were to graph the Pisano periods of different moduli, you will notice that the periods tend to get larger and larger as the modulus increases, though the actual values still fluctuate up and down quite a lot. You may be interested in just looking at the lengths of the periods themselves and try to figure out why these lines appear, for example, if you really wanted to. But we want to get back to these designs, which are all generated using the Fibonacci sequence with moduli of different integers. Let's start with this group over here. Remember how before I traced out the sequence for the number line mod 3? I basically put 3 points evenly spaced on a circle, labeled them with all the possible remainders, and drew lines between the points according to the progression of the sequence. You can see how this would create some pretty regular looking polygons inscribed in circles for any modulus we used. But with the Fibonacci numbers, suddenly the sequences are more seemingly irregular. With the Fib series mod 4, for example, we start at 0, hit 1 twice, go to 2, go to 3, and then we jump back to 1 again before returning to 0, our starting point. It's a pretty irregular looking shape. Yet if we used the Fib series mod 5's sequence, with 5 points around the outside, we jump from 0 to 1, to 1, 2, 3, back to 0, over to 3 twice, then to 1, 4, 0, 4, 4, 3, 2, 0, 2, 2, 4, 1. And then finally the sequence restarts. This time we happened to cover every possible diagonal, which again are the lines that connect any 2 points. With mod 6, the resulting shape doesn't cover every single diagonal, but it still has vertical symmetry, and mod 8 gives another shape with an asymmetrical design. Filling the other designs for moduli 1 through 9 seem to yield a different design for each one. Then there's the design for the Fib series mod 10, with a period of 60. It's a pretty long period compared to the others shown thus far, and therefore has a more complex arrangement of intersecting lines. yet it still ends up being symmetrical and comes across as a relatively nice and tidy design compared to some of the other ones. This one is my personal favorite. Of course, since we have an infinite amount of integers to use as moduli, we can generate an infinite amount of designs. Some of the designs have many connecting lines due to having a longer Pisano period, and some are really simple. Some manage to pull it together and create a nice symmetrical balance, while others descend into a chaotic mess. And while the designs tend to get more complex as the periods tend to increase, there doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason as to why they're so different from each other, or what determines if a design is symmetrical or
Now, further research is required, right, to understand this bit further. Does this relate to sound and cymatics? That's a good question, right? Because obviously with the understanding of duality, yin and yang, there's a good frequency and a bad frequency, yeah? Now there's other things I'm going to show you in a minute to do with this and how our words impact reality, okay? Does the conformity and non-conformity of these shapes via the Fibonacci sequence show that there's a dualistic concept of chaos and order? And as you will see, does that, again, that same concept come into play when you look at the studies done by multiple people on how our own voice impacts life, yeah, and what it looks like in terms of geometry? Fascinating, isn't it? I think there is a correlation, and I think Matey needs to look into that, but to be honest, and I think you'll find it, that there's a correlation between negative words and these shapes, potentially. Moving on.
Or not. At least not at first. However, during my research on these designs, which included watching a few great videos by the channel Numberphile, which you should totally check out for supplemental material, links are in the description, I picked up on the fact that each looping mod sequence contains either 1, 2, or 4 zeros. Now there are proofs that exist as to why the number of zeros is always 1, 2, or 4, but I was more interested in their correlation with the symmetry of the resulting designs. I noticed that sequences with 4 zeros always seemed to make symmetrical designs, sequences with 1 zero always made asymmetrical designs, and sequences with 2 zeros seemed to go either way. So perhaps it would be nice to figure out why that is, and see if there's a way to prove that those patterns hold up for any integer modulus that we use. The other thing that I noticed after a bit is that while these designs look mostly disconnected from each other on the surface, there are some designs that are actually quite similar, and only differ by a couple of added lines. For example, the designs for mods 13, 34, and 89 all are almost identical, and so are the designs for mods 8, 21, and 55. You might notice that all of those numbers are themselves Fibonacci numbers, and the designs alternate between the two sets as you count down the line. So perhaps there's a pattern forming here with these designs, one subset of which looks like it's the other but copied and flipped over onto itself. It seems too good to be a coincidence. You may also notice that the same thing holds true for mods 11, 29, and 76, as well as 7, 18, and 47. These numbers are actually all part of another sequence in math called the Lucas numbers, which is a sequence that is generated by the same rule as Fibonacci, but instead starts with 2 and 1 instead of 0 and 1. And again, I think it's pretty easy to tell the similarity that these two groups of designs have with each other in the visual sense. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be many other ways of looking for visual connections between the rest of the designs, at least from my point of view at the moment. However, maybe you will find similarities in the rest of the shapes that reveal more hidden ways of grouping these designs together that I could not find. Let's step back a bit and look at the big picture for a second. We're essentially picking and choosing which points we connect in potential polygons for all of these shapes, and the thing that mainly determines how the lines will turn out, besides the modulus, is the sequence of numbers itself. We might get this shape through the Fibonacci series mod 10, but what if we changed our base sequence from the Fibonacci numbers to something else? If we decided to use Lucas numbers mod 10, for instance, that would give a different set of remainders that happen to loop, but it makes a different design. The same would happen if we use triangular numbers, which use a completely different rule of producing terms compared to the Lucas or Fibonacci numbers. The rule for the triangular numbers is basically just to always increase the difference between two successive terms by 1. If we decided to use prime numbers, the sequence of remainders does not loop, yet it just happens to contain mainly only 1, 3, 7, and 9 for whatever reason. And of course, nothing's preventing you from just picking random remainders and seeing what shape they happen to make. The point is that using the Fibonacci sequence is just the ingredient we decided to use in the recipe for making cool combinations of diagonals. And maybe the Fibonacci sequence is really special to you, and for that reason, the specific designs you get from using the Fibonacci sequence hold more meaning to you. But this also lets you know that you can extend this concept of using these modular frameworks to interpret various other sequences, not just Fibonacci numbers. This can open up a whole new world of exploring why different moduli, in combination with different number sequences, make specific designs. One last thing that I want to show you before we move on to other things. I want to show what happens when you substitute the regular Fibonacci sequence, which starts with 0, 1, 1, with a Fibonacci sequence multiplied by another number, 2 for example. So all the terms are now twice as large. When you make designs for the different moduli of this sequence, you'll get a bunch of designs that we had before, but you'll also get several new ones. In fact, you can probably see that all the designs of the regular sequence are still there, but they now appear in every other modulus used. If we were to use a Fibonacci sequence multiplied by 3 to start, the resulting designs of the moduli would show the original series cropping up in every third design. Likewise, if our starting sequence was multiplied by 4, we would expect that the original Fib sequence modulus designs would appear every fourth design, and indeed, they do. The designs centered around the Fib sequence times 2 also appear every other design in this case. It is almost like we're dealing with fractions of the original moduli with the way that these designs appear in relation to each other. If in the original Fibonacci sequence we were to label each of the modular designs with the number correlating to the modulus used, we would just get a list of integers for the labels. So when we switch to using the Fibonacci sequence times 2, we might be tempted to label the first one here with a number of 1/2, and the next new one 3/2. But we should be careful about this. As far as I can tell, moduli can only be integers, so in labeling these modular designs, we should be careful not to say that they were produced by evaluating the Fibonacci sequence, quote, mod 1/2 or mod 3/2. Instead, I think it's better to label these designs more like design 1, design 2, design 3 over 2, etc., to remove a bit of faulty connotation. In this designation, the top number is the modulus used, and the bottom number is the multiplier of the original Fibonacci series. And with an infinite amount of integers available, we can basically make as many designs as there are rational numbers. That is the bulk of work that I've done with these type of designs. There is another thing that I'm currently working with, attempting to match up circular designs with fractional approximations of some common irrational numbers, but I might leave that for a follow-up video. Right now, I want to make sure that we don't forget about the second group of designs that I showed you at the beginning of this video. These designs are also built off of modulations of the Fibonacci sequence like before, but the rules for drawing the shapes are obviously pretty different. For this, we're translating these modulated sequences into paths, where every step of the path is either a left turn and then forward 1 unit, if the term in the sequence is odd, or a right turn and then forward 1 unit if the term is even. If the term is 0, we don't turn or move at all. I've arbitrarily decided that the starting direction we face is to the right, and since every sequence starts with 0, nothing happens. Let's use the number line as our reference sequence for a second. Since the number line alternates between even and odd numbers, the resulting graph is going to first turn left and move for number 1, then turn right and move for number 2, then turn left again for 3, then right again for 4, and so on forever. If we use the original Fibonacci sequence, we end up cycling through the sequence of left turn, right turn, because the Fibonacci sequence's numbers cycle through odd, and even. I'll let you figure out why that is. Interestingly enough, the resulting design we get also loops on itself, and as a bonus, it just happens to look like the addition symbol, which is fitting for Fibonacci numbers, I suppose. But now, when we start substituting in modded Fibonacci sequences, we get many different sequences of even and odd numbers, which will lead to many different designs. It's interesting to note that unlike in the first batch of designs we looked at, several moduli will result in identical designs. Some designs are completely contained and loop on themselves, while others repeat a pattern that has a general direction heading off to infinity. So far, I haven't looked into what may influence one modulus to produce one type of design while another modulus produces something completely different. And just like with the circular designs we looked at before, you can substitute your beginning sequence in with anything and produce more designs that way, for whatever reason. It's important to take away that all of the stuff we're doing may not result in incredibly complex or thought-provoking designs, but the fact that these designs are motivated by a mathematical understanding is what makes them special. It's also important to note the artistic and creative significance working with things like this has. Hopefully this video can be used as a springboard for you to think about how math might motivate designs in your everyday life, and how the application of a certain instruction for building designs can be expanded upon to create more and more interesting artwork and cool visual things to look at. It can be seen as a different way of making art, in that it's much more procedural and you basically are creating a set of instructions that produces unknown final results, akin in many ways to the work of conceptual artists like Sol LeWitt. Or maybe you disagree that making designs based off of purely mathematical data is even art at all. Maybe math visualizations are in a class of visual performance all by themselves. How does this discussion of visualization and artwork connect to other types of data and visualizations for things completely unrelated to core math concepts?
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. I thought that was quite fascinating, with the correlations there with the Fibonacci sequence. The thing I didn't put up in this video, but I will mention it briefly before moving on, is there is other correlations between the Fibonacci sequence and music. Yeah. You should go look at it. You know, someone playing the Fibonacci sequence on a piano. Sounds beautiful. Alright. Vortex Mathematics, Decoding the Fingerprint of God. Again, another article if you choose to read. But it has everything to do with the torus and math. Sacred geometry. The atom is a torus field of light which follows two phases. The light ring compresses itself into matter and then discharges itself into the ether, into empty space. Yeah. The Earth's magnetic field is shaped like a torus. So is the energy field around each human being. Right? So I'm bringing it up. If you want to learn, please read. Do some research. And then solid metal Fibonacci spiral torus is this one. You can have a full sequence Fibonacci spiral instead of a half sequence as well. So there's that. Flower of life or electromagnetic torus fields. 1 minute 46. Let's do it.
Shown here are ordinary non-magnetized 5mm steel balls. These bowl-shaped magnetic fields induce a magnetic field into each steel ball, which causes them to repel each other while at the same time keeping the balls structured together. So this mysterious force not only causes the steel balls to become packed tightly together, but it also keeps them apart. Then it does this while at the same time forming a geometrically balanced pattern, just as we find within atoms and molecules. Notice the vibration in all of the steel balls as each new ball is added to the nucleus area. What we see at work here is what I believe would truly be defined as the strong force. Then we will take a look at some incredible cutting-edge research from scientists at IBM. This is an atomic force microscope image of the actual structure within a nanographene molecule. Now we see the image of the nanographene molecule superimposed on top of the array of steel balls that were formed in the nucleus area of the bowl-shaped magnetic fields.
Did you know that sound can levitate objects? So anyway, rolling torus structures in astronomy. Just so you know, there is evidence out there that, you know, academics have been looking at. Torus structures that roll in orbit, the center, it's not all conspiracy theory and, oh, YouTube. The torus structures that roll in orbit, the center of mass, can produce a family of nested, almost elliptical orbits. These orbits, with the center of mass at one focus, have a range of eccentricities and are inclined to the principal plane of the torus. Do you want to read that again? Torus structures that roll in orbit, the center of mass, can produce a family of nested, almost elliptical orbits. These orbits, with the center of mass at one focus, Mount Meru, have a range of eccentricities and are inclined to the principal plane, the plane of the Earth, of the torus. Individual orbiting particles have an anti-collision feature from the nature of the rolling torus. In turn, because the torus can be regarded as a family of nested elliptical orbits, it rolls without needing any additional force, i.e. perpetual motion, because of the torus field that's making it go around. This system and magnets, for some reason, magnetic North Pole. The system is acted upon only by central gravitational attraction and has low dispersion and long lifetime. Well, that word should be buoyancy and density, which is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. That's the only thing that's wrong there. The rest of it's perfect. Do you want me to say that last bit again? Not gravity. Gravity is buoyancy and density. Okay? Which is part of the magnetic electric spectrum, or the magnetic electric spectrum, or if you want to say the around electric magnetic spectrum is what we were told it is. Alright? But it could be the other way around. It could be the magnetic electric universe. Because they lie and invert everything, don't they? So, just another article for you to read if you choose to do so. Ignore the pictures though, because they like to put truth in lies because they don't know what they're talking about half the time. But at least they're telling you the truth right there, minus the gravity, buoyancy, density. So another key principle: the color of sound. Hey, it is imperative you learn these things to understand you and how you are the rainbow, how water and sound create light and energy. You are a light being within your temple. All you have to do is access the information, accept truth, and you will become a light being yourself as you merge the rainbow to become white light. That's how it works. But they have poisoned us. They have drugged the food so that we don't have this spirit inside us, so to speak, which can rise up. The Kundalini, rise up, and when it does merge the truth, you yourself become divine, part of the solution, not the problem, because you're the rainbow. And yet the rainbow today, right, represents depravity, going against creation, right, teaching LGBTQ in primary schools. I did videos 3 years ago telling you that the education system was changing in 2020, didn't I? And no one listened. No one cared. Right? And now the poor children, right, are getting indoctrinated to think that there's 52 genders and I can have an operation to change my gender at 15 or less, 12. They're gunning for the children with this campaign of terror to do with the jab. I'm tired of this world, honestly, and their shenanigans and their camp and their agenda, which in the end, I've already told you, is all the lies they've ever told, all the core principles of all foundations are lies to bring in a new world order, a one world religious economic order, the mystery Babylon, the horror of Babylon. So humans emit light, and it's called bioluminescence and biophotons in humans. You also, because of the torus field, your heart is not a pump. There's another subject, and again, heart's not a pump. The heart is a torus field generator, if you want to label it as something, that extends out to about 6 feet, which is why they didn't want anyone hugging each other, because you actually transmit energy and love to each other through your biofield. Yeah? Don't even have to touch each other. You just have to be next to each other. So I have proposed that they're trying to weaponize the biofield against, with this jab, and that the biofield could be, used to hurt an individual that's not been jabbed. However, all these different subjects are deep and long. So let's not talk about that for now, shall we? It's not the right place for it, I'm afraid, to speak the truth on this matter, on this platform. Bioluminescence is a biological process through which light is produced and emitted by a living organism, resulting from a chemical reaction occurring within the body of the organisms. It's not a rare phenomenon in marine life. Nature has its own way of putting up a magnificent show of light where sunlight cannot penetrate. Yeah, we know. The stars, right? For all we know, could be just all bioluminescent things living in the ocean. They're just swirling around, loving life, right? Could be souls, right? Too. Just swirling around in their position. They've all got names, so they're just like, observing as a spirit above in the heavens. But then there's a dualistic concept there, isn't it? That there might be good spirits in the heavens and bad spirits in the heavens, and now water still needs to be used to contain a spirit or a soul, which is why we have water in our temple, isn't it? That come out a bit Welsh, doesn't it? Isn't it? So bioluminescence, yeah, this is more subjects in the human body. Yeah, the experiments that prove bioluminescence in humans. So we emit light from our body. Why is that important? White light, the knowledge of white light. Well, as I said earlier, I can show you images of the sun emitting a rainbow beam coming from it. Yeah, multiple images, and how the sun is white, and how you need to use white light, right, in order to create the rainbow in the first place. No, in order to create white light, you need to use the knowledge of the rainbow. Yeah, frequencies. Where are we going? This knowledge of the rainbow creates white light. The chakras when they merge properly, or create white light. You are created. You have a purpose. And every single soul on this earth, well, they're being watched and recorded. Everything you think, everything you see, everything you feel is being transmitted wirelessly from your biofield and from your pineal gland. Which is where if you carry on reading this, it tells you that that's the next one anyway. Basically, that the seat of the soul, your pineal gland, is pretty much where most light comes from. For the most part, where it's the brightest, yeah. And now wirelessly, light Alright, check this out. Light can be used as data and can transmit pretty much instantaneously to a information field which is completely invisible all around us, dubbed the Akashic Record, or aka the cloud technology, which is an emulation of our own reality. Excuse me. We receive and transmit light. We have aura, which proves that there are things within us that can create a light body. The rainbow. These are principles you need to understand, and how it works has everything to do with sound in water. Okay? Next. The aura, your energy skin. But yeah, it is something to look into, isn't it? Human aura, more academic approaches. Okay, I'll leave the link in the description. Moving on. I don't want to repeat myself too much, because, you know, I am trying to show you there's a connection to everything, you know, and there is a theory of everything. It just takes time. Your mind is a supercomputer after all, in a way, and it does take time to process information, correct? So the neuroscience behind words, okay? Words can hurt me. I'll actually read this article, okay? No, I won't. It's too long. There's something you need to look into, as I was saying, in it. Oh, it's not that long. Let's read it. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Wrong. These many levels. The phrase is reminiscent of childhood recess, when we didn't want others to know how hurtful their words truly were. However, the belief that physical injury is more painful than psychological or emotional injury is not necessarily true. Scientific studies actually show that positive and negative words do not only affect us on a deep psychological level, but they have a significant impact on the outcome of our lives. Yes, truth, okay? That is the truth. Words do hurt and can impact your life on many levels. Hopefully some of my words today have made an impact on your life, and that you're actually going to start to see things differently because of it. And I appreciate that, you know, maybe it's not now, but maybe 2 months later, you'll be on your own personal journey now, and you will come into my channel, back to my channel after watching this, and go, hang on mate, you were right about everything. Everything is based on a foundation of lies. You were telling the truth. For what motive do I have anyway to lie to you? I'm not making any money from it. Don't make many friends because I speak this way. That's for sure. So, there's a thing you need to know about a new understanding of the human body and all the things I'm saying. And it's called psychosomatic diseases. Where, well, these things impact us on a deep psychological level. Yes. Bullying, etc. Right? Because it's not just the physical things, it's also the fact that it's intent and it's being put into the ether and their biofield. Negative words release stress and anxiety, and that is, it's true. I was deeply negatively stressed and anxious as a child, which is potentially why I ended up having a renal problems, kidney problems, an incurable kidney problem. They told me, that was a lie. Showed you a graph. There it is. You're gonna die if you don't. There's nothing we can do. It's gonna just deteriorate, and there's nothing we can do. And it was a lie. Yeah. These pharma pushing doctors don't know anything about the human body and about how positive thoughts and detox and meditation can actually make you better. Yes, thoughts can cure you. Your own thoughts can cure you. Breathing through meditation, yeah, because most of the shit you can get out of you, all the bad stuff, can be done through meditation. 70%, I believe, of all the bad stuff can be breathed out through intent. Yeah, when you're doing it, breathing in the light and the good, breathing out the negative and the bad. Right? It's all about intent anyway. Everything's about intent. And your thoughts. Heart and mind must work as one. If you yourself want to help manifest a better future for humanity, because right now we've passed the crossroads. We're at a point where so many people have volunteered to take technology, biotech, yeah, into the body through the guise of science and lies and deception. Has it helped those people that have died? No. Has it helped the people that have taken it after they've gotten COVID anyway, which was basically symptoms of common cold or influenza, which disappeared for the last 2 years? 0, near enough, deaths, and it kills what? How many people a year in this country? Unbelievable, sinister stuff is happening around us right now, and so many people are sleepwalking into a trap. They ain't got a clue how to do anything for themselves. Babbling on. Happy thoughts and all. Yeah, all this darkness and that, and the truth fucking can make you depressed. It's hard. It isn't easy to go down this path, but when you start learning that actually, alright, all these things are what they are, and that I'm here for a reason, and I want to make a difference, and I want to do good in a world of evil, and I want to be righteous, right, etc. You're gonna make a difference. Trust me. The time is coming, right, where there's a kind of crescendo of energy of good versus evil. Bang! It's gonna merge. That's what they want. I don't want to take part in any of their planned things. I want to be well out of Mystery Babylon, to be honest. When the time comes, we are out. Isn't that remarkable and beautiful? Doesn't that not show you that your thoughts do matter, and staying positive and being of the light and love matters? People accepting good as evil and evil as good today. Well, they need to wake up and look at this stuff to know they're being deceived. Burning down cities and calling it good. You know, a good protest, peaceful protest, doesn't work, does it? That was interesting. The religions, right, were good, weren't they? But I think also it's down to the intent of and the understanding of the individual. If the individual wants to see all religions as good, that's how it's going to come out, innit? If I was to do that experiment, and you know, it might not come out the same because of my views on religion. Yeah. So it's about interpretation as well. As well, is your intention, isn't it? So this is what I was talking about with the earlier video about the Fibonacci sequence, and how it could relate to the disharmony and the shapes, and that could be all about, you know, the negative side of reality, and the ones that are beautiful looking and complete, you know, symmetrical, they're about love and peace. And do you see the correlation? I hope you do. What is sonoluminescence? I've mentioned it throughout this video. I hope you enjoy. It's like literally a 3-minute clip. There's much more to learn about this subject, but I have told you all I'm trying to do is give you the core principles, okay, so that you can go and do and work out everything else yourself. You haven't got time to do 15 years of research to know what the truth is. I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm not lying to you about these principles because it's taken me this long to do so in the first place. Yeah? All of my videos was always to try and prove a point that we've been lied to in the first place. And that every person that's asked me questions has helped me move towards a better understanding of our reality. And that includes my closest friends. That includes people that probably still, you know, probably still are adamant globies that are unsatisfied with the answers they've been given. And of course, people of ilk, you know, likeness, like that are fully conscious beings, fully aware of what's going on. There's people out there that have been awake for a lot longer than me, that's for sure. I'm just one man, but I know one man can change the world. Yeah? So, let's hope and pray that one day we will come together, we'll do what's right in a world of wrong, and unfortunately in doing so, it will cause more chaos. Because SMART stands for Secret Military Armaments in Residential Terrain. Do you want me to say that again? SMART stands for Secret Military Armaments in Residential Terrain. Yes, weapons. They've put weapons of mass destruction all around us for an agenda to control humanity. It's part of the Internet of Things. And going back to what I was talking about light earlier, coming from the human body, they themselves are creating a system called Li-Fi, right? Light infidelity, which is basically using light as the Internet of Things. It's in the lampposts. I've tried to tell you that the lamppost is part of the Internet of Things, connected to 5G. It's connected to the Li-Fi system that they want to use to try and control humanity with, or at least use it to transmit information wirelessly to them via the cloud when they finally get themselves plugged into it. We can't stop it, I'm afraid. We must accept the fact that all of our efforts, right, to a point are vain. Babylon will be built around us, and there's nothing we can do. Yeah, when the time comes, I believe many of us that are deserving and true, right, will be taken. But first, we have to survive a war, and we then have to relocate. These are hard times for all of us. Doesn't matter what you believe in. I'm just trying to help clear your mind so that you can understand where you are in this world and the time you live in. Yeah, I'm trying to show you the sign of the times. While you think you know, right, the stars and how they work, you don't until you understand sonoluminescence, right, and how it works. Thank you. So here we are again.
The first time I saw sonoluminescence was in a darkened room. I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid. And you'd look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star. What made the phenomenon so exciting was the temperature of this star in a jar. On its surface alone, the light burns at tens of thousands of degrees. And Seth Putterman now contemplated a tantalizing possibility. Could the core of the collapsing bubble be even hotter? Hot enough for fusion.
One of the mysteries of sonoluminescence is to determine exactly how hot the interior of the bubble gets. In the sun, the interior can be...
That's not the sun, is it? No, I've showed you everything I've showed you, and you think that's real. It's not a real image of the sun, is it? Think about it. It's a CGI image as well, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's carry on.
Millions of degrees, hot enough to cause fusion. And the thought crossed my mind that perhaps inside the collapsing bubble, the interior of the bubble might also get hot enough to cause fusion.
If so, this would be something truly amazing. By simply bombarding tiny bubbles with sound waves, temperatures of over 10 million degrees would be created. And nuclear fusion
10 million degrees. What number, eh? Where do they pluck that from? Do they have a thermometer that measures that amount? It's a joke. It's all based on hypothesis. It's in bloody water, for goodness sake. Yeah? We know sound create light Via sound creates heat. That's a given, yeah? It's part of natural laws that we've been told. But in water, right, if it really did create that much heat, the fucking water would boil in seconds. Right? Absolute trash with truth. More. Yeah? Just be careful what you watch and have logical thinking about everything, okay? Even question the things I'm saying, okay? I'm not debating that it's not creating heat? No. I'm saying, will it create that amount of heat in water? No. And if it did, it would boil the bloody water, wouldn't it? Right? Think about it. 100 degrees of boiling water. Another point, why they called it star in a jar, okay? And then they... Hold on. How... You see, this is part of how it works, okay? Now you go add in the torus field. So they go, oh, it's a star in a jar. It reminds me of space and the stars, right? So that's something maybe you want to consider. So that's how actually the stars work with torus fields and their own orbits, which are elliptical and eccentric because of the torus field at the center of the Earth, which they've hidden, right? Yeah, because their Mount Meru and Hyperborean landmass is no longer there on the current maps. What do you think? Or do you think you're going to carry on believing, right, that the Earth is a globe spinning, sorry, let me rephrase that, a spheroid oblate shown as a globe, yeah, spinning in a forever expanding universe, when, again, I've showed you the studies that prove Copernican model of the sun at the center is not right, is it? Big Bang isn't right. There must be an ether if they've mapped the fucking universe, and therefore it must be water, because they're saying here the stars are sound in water, which is the same principles as how we operate. Funny enough, same as the torus field in our heart, right? And the chakras in water. As above, so below. As within, so without. It's simple, really, isn't it? I'm trying to make it simple for you. I know it's going to be so hard for many of you to accept this, even if you've gone through all of this. But this is how it works. It does implode and explode, but it does it so quickly that to the naked eye, it goes all these different colours. Now going back to what I just showed you, so it's a blue colour, yep, and a little there, look, colour sound. So what do you think? It's blue colour, so perhaps he was using this type of range frequency, yeah, to make that bubble. However, there are things called rainbow stars, yeah, which flick all different colours, all the colours of the rainbow, funny enough, right? How does that fit the narrative of the current cosmological principles? It doesn't, does it? No. Rainbow flicking stars that are rotating around us, stationary Earth, certainly doesn't fit the narrative. What we've been told. So, that's the experiments, sonoluminescence, and there's an article if you're interested in reading more about it. There's more, more to read. Again. So, the Gleason map of the world. Okay? I've talked about it. Here it is. This is from 1882, I think, 1886. Doesn't say. It says there, hang on. 1892, my bad. Patent, new standard map of the world, and when you study flight paths and what they show you with their current model, right, and you project it onto this model, you go and look which makes more sense. Okay? Also, no, water doesn't curve, okay, according to the current mathematical principles of the globe, i.e. the water itself should curve, well, 8 inches per mile squared. Yeah, I say mile squared because you look at a horizon from the beach, yeah. If it's a very large view from distance-wise, from left to right, well, and it's the horizon is horizontal to your eye, to your view, your perspective, when it's meant to be curving away over such distance, then again you should ask yourself, how can it be a globe when my own eyes prove it isn't? You see? They've tricked us. They've used malicious tactics to deceive everyone, which is part of understanding the television, hypnotherapy, and the power of suggestion. You tell a lie and repeat it as truth long enough, people are going to believe it. That's exactly what has happened. Or they flaunt the truth in front of your face, i.e. this map here being on a building seen above the United Nations building in Africa, for example. Yeah? Or this type of map being in like Air Force One, or any other building that owns by government, United Nations building, on the floor of one of them, and airports and stuff like that. Well, you think you're living on a globe where this is the actual reality, right? The reason why the globe exists in the first place, okay? When I tell you it's a spheroid oblate, it's because they've mapped the Earth using a grid system and the perfect circle. It's how artificial intelligence is controlling the weather. Told you. Don't laugh, right? So this is what it is. Look, equal distance azimuth projection. So again, on my walls, let's go for it. Feel free to watch this video. It's in the description. There's the equal distance. Anyway. There's the equal distance azimuth projection that I've done myself using the globe. Reverse engineering the globe back into the perfect circle, right? That's how they did it. Now we'll show you a video shortly from a guy that worked at NASA, okay, telling you exactly the same thing. They took the fucking flat map, this one, and turned it into the perfect circle. But in order to do it properly, they had to put the south at the center. Yeah? What part of that is oblating? It isn't, because it's based on the perfect circle still. Should we look at everyone's? This one here. It's the sun and the moon movements plus excuse me, I've gone mind blank. The winter and summer solstices of where they actually sunset times for that year as well. I think it was 2020. But this is a copy. If someone's got the original out there somewhere, I stole it when I was protesting in the middle of Reading Town Centre. Oh well, it will come back again on my mat on the wall. Don't be Matt Planck. Oval universe. Again, we'll get into that in a minute. My sacred geometry drawings. There's a flower of life beyond that. It's in pencil. The idea about understanding perpetual motion and how the stars move within elliptical orbits using the torus field. How we're in a closed system. How the stars are rotating around a stationary Earth. How there's multiple domes. Yeah. How the mandala is about knowledge of the rainbow and creationism. Oh, without the perfect circle, you can't build a pyramid outright. You won't be able to do it. Mathematically impossible without the perfect circle. Again, I've showed you that. Sun and the moon movements is a torus. I'll show you this map now, not properly. Map of the Earth, torus field, and a hypothesis about at one point there was a giant tree. These giant tree, because the Earth's hollow, yeah. And obviously, I've not done it to the greatest detail, but from here there'd have been lakes, seas, and rivers, yeah. And all of a sudden, there was a great deluge, and it ended up looking more like what we see it today, like this map. And then eventually, it ended up looking like we have today. So giants, titans, man, you know, geological time. That's another subject in itself that you need to incorporate into these things, right? And I've tried to do that already, but you have to understand space-time as well, you know, cycles and 3,600 years, etc. And if it's bigger, then there's a bigger cycle of 3,600 years, and how it involves sacred geometry, which is what I'm showing you now on this, right? This is a blueprint I've done, trying to demonstrate the domes and how everything works. You know, space, this is space, this could be space, this could be a dome and more land in here, and there's more land in this bit, and then there's another land, or a dome there, and then more land in here, and we're in this bit here, this middle bit here. We're in, you know, the same hypothesis as I've shown you as orbs, yeah. And you got to remember, this is then three-dimensional, so this is like a construction model of how the domes, for example, and there's different blueprints to represent different things. Like the flower of life represents creation, yeah. This blueprint, I believe, represents the blueprint of the Earth, right? And how that then correlates with the mandala and knowledge of the rainbow and everything else. For all we know, there could be a sun at the center of the damn, you know, above us, at the center of the Earth. Center of the universe still, so to speak, but it's up here, yeah, like well up into like the toppest, highest dome, yeah, which by then it could be, the Earth could look like a bell by that, you know, like, or it could look like what we see, like cathedrals and stuff like that, more likely. The domes of the cathedrals and all the domes around of the ancient architecture around the world are based on this, I believe, this type of blueprint. Sacred geometry is the answer to how they built a lot of these things. They didn't just go, oh, I'm going to put that there. No, they had blueprints. And there's another example of perpetual motion and how the stars come around in elliptics, and how it's enclosed again, and there might be something to do with magnets, and how this is, obviously, if this is dome, then now it comes off the dome and it can do this type of thing as well off it, or it could be a reflection, or this could be to do with the four angels, right? And how the winds work. You get what I'm saying? Multiple meanings of these blueprints. And finally, to be continued with this one, but this is a map of the world. Again, another one I created with the north at the center. But this time, I'm using Google Earth Pro to map the oceans. Now, I'm about 80% done on this. And I can tell you now, there ain't no other answer than creationism when I'm going to prove that there was nothing but seas, lakes, and rivers on the Earth at one point. And then things got destroyed again. So there's two floods there to talk about in history and different epochs. But that's a different video for a different day. So if I do not do any videos coming up in the next couple of months, it's because I've only got Saturday and Sunday to do it. You know, I might do some videos during the week. It depends on, you know, what else I've been doing. So, but Saturdays and Sundays I want to now concentrate on completing this project. you know, I want to get the rest of it mapped in so that I can then start coloring it in, and then I want to get it scanned so it's a proper digital copy, and then I'm going to show you. Okay. So, yeah. Keep watching my channel. I haven't forgot about you, honestly. I've just been very busy, and there's so much stuff going on. I just don't know what to say half the time anymore. And I kind of give up a bit, you know. I got disheartened with with everything. So here is the map on the wall that I got printed, meter by meter. Monty's world map from the 1500s. Wink, wink, not 1500s. And what you need to do, I'll leave the links, as I said. Compare this map to the modern map, and what you'll see is this bit here, this entire section here, going across like that, is gone. It's underwater. Yeah, this entire bit's underwater. Yeah, this is much thicker than what it is today. Still similar, and I've got that drawn on my map. I mean, maybe you can see it. Yeah, so you see it comes down like this. It's much larger, and there's a little bit of water in between them. In between the landmass. It's like a load of islands and land. But it was much bigger, and obviously then you got to take the continent, which didn't look like that. Like, the continents didn't look like they are now. So I've still got to map how the rest of it, you know, the 30%. If the ocean's 70%, I've still got to map the 30%, right? Which is the land masses known land masses. But luckily, there's a lot of detailed maps that have already been done. All I got to do then is just, hopefully, it'll be a merger of digital information implanted in it and my own. Otherwise, I've got to do it freehand, which I don't mind. It's just going to take longer. Not there. So, this one on the wall, I brought it up just for, you know, to show you that, you know, this map, another map from the 1500s, just wasn't one map. There was multiple, you know, multiple copies of the same maps going back generations. There's Hyperborea landmass. Okay, Mount Meru is at the center. How come it's not there today? Giant tree. Do you see why I kind of drawn what I drawn? Once was a giant tree, lakes and rivers going through it, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the thing comes up like, how it can change, and it doesn't take much, I'm afraid. So yeah, the sun and the moon goes around like this, doesn't it? In a torus, still. Yeah, same principles. Magnetic North Pole, which basically pushes, because that's actually in the map. This actually makes our observations probably closer to home as well. Unless there is a slight tilt of the Earth. Which there might be. But that is to be continued. That's subject matter to prove it. You know, water always seeks level, even if there's a tilt, right? So to speak. The Earth, and I'm not saying the Earth, like, what I'm saying is the land mass might not be straight. It's hard to explain. Anyway, let's move on before I say more stupid things. NASA research papers that emit flat and non-rotating Earth. 15 of them. Nothing to see here, right? You may believe the Earth is round, but NASA doesn't. Dear. NASA documents referring to a flat Earth. And I recommend checking out this guy's channel. Yeah, plaintruth.info. Always worth sharing his stuff. He does proper jobs on it. Now, another video. So you don't have to always listen to me babbling on about Mystery Babylon. Flat Earth, NASA's Robert Simon, aka Mr. Blue Marble, emits no photographs of Earth.
So hey guys, Jeff here, and today I want to share with you this article that's on nasa.gov. It's about Robert Simon, aka Mr. Blue Marble. It's from about 3 years ago, and it's a little interview. They ask him a bunch of questions, and I found some of his answers rather interesting. So let's take a look. What do you do, and what is most interesting about your role here at Goddard? How do you help support Goddard's mission? His answer was, my role is to make imagery from Earth science's data. Okay, he makes images. He does not take photographs. I turn data into pictures. I look for new interesting events that NASA satellites have seen or that are hidden in the latest data to find anything interesting that shows off NASA's unique capabilities. Yeah, unique capabilities as in creating CGI Earth planets. It's not unique at all. This man is a piece of shit because this man is being used as part of the deception, and he probably doesn't even know that he's being used like a tool. Okay? He probably has no idea that the Earth is flat and that he is part of the grand deception. What is the coolest thing you've ever done as part of your job at Goddard? His answer is unbelievable. It's actually quite believable, but it's just remarkable. The last time anyone took a photograph from above low Earth orbit that showed an entire hemisphere, one side of the globe, was in 1972 during Apollo 17. NASA's Earth Observing System, EOS satellites, were designed to give a checkup of Earth's health. By 2002, we finally had enough data to make a snapshot of the entire Earth. So we did. The hard part was creating a flat map of the Earth's surface with 4 months of satellite data. Okay? So this guy is admitting that there has only been one photograph taken of the entire Earth, one side of the globe, so that you see a perfect circle, since 1972. This guy made the Blue Marble, I believe, in 2004. 32 years went by, and they had only taken one photograph of Earth, and it was during Apollo 17, and we can prove how they faked these shots. The Apollo 17 shot is just a photograph taken of the Earth, cropped into a circle through a round window. Okay, it's not a genuine photo. This guy is admitting that they have 0 genuine photographs of the Earth. The hard part was creating a flat map of the Earth's surface. Then we wrapped the flat map around a ball. My part was integrating the surface, clouds, and oceans to match people's expectations of how Earth looks from space. This guy is admitting that they created a flat map and then wrapped it around a ball. This is precisely what I've been saying that they did. The globe model, the heliocentric model, is reverse engineered from the truth. And his job was to make sure that it matched people's expectations of how Earth looks from space. You know what that means? It means it doesn't matter if it's realistic. It doesn't matter if it shows a perfect sphere or that it's not a pear-shaped oblate spheroid. This wasn't about truth. This wasn't about reality. This was about matching people's brainwashed expectations of how Earth looks from space. That ball became the famous Blue Marble. The Blue Marble image that you see all the time is CGI. That is not a photograph. NASA does not try to claim it's a real photograph, but NASA has absolutely no problem with you believing it's a real photograph. And that's the biggest problem. 32 years went by and they claim to only have one real photograph of the Earth from space.
Oh.
Did you like that? It was good, wasn't it? Very good. I don't think he needs to repeat himself again. So they did. I don't need to repeat myself, do I? I'm going to anyway. So they did absolutely shoot the current Marble 1 picture, as he's referencing there. That was done in whatever it was, 70 odd. And yeah. Shot it for a circular window in low Earth orbit, didn't they? You can see the videos of them doing it. Funny. Just and the videos staging the moon landing. Do I need to continue that the moon's not a rock? Oh my word. I hope not. Back to the cosmological axis of evil. Why did they label it that? Think about it. This entire project, which wasn't just this one, I told you, it was at least 3 different ones, and there's others to come still, right, that are newer, prove Copernican model was wrong, proves the Earth can't be a spheroid oblate spinning in a vacuum of forever expanding space, because proves that Earth is indeed at the center of the known universe, hence the picture at the beginning, but it ain't a globe, is it now? Right? Why did they label it the axis of evil? Because they hate the truth. Simple, yeah? And then they got the audacity to pay off Wiki or whatever to go, call that an anomaly, will ya? So we can carry on believing a lie, even though we tell them mathematically it's, you know, 1 in 120 zeros after it, making it the biggest mismatch in scientific history. Why did they... Again, I hadn't told you yet, or showed you, but I wonder why there is they're representing it as an oval still, though. More things to research, yeah? Anyway, next. New dark matter map reveals cosmic mystery. An international team of researchers created the largest and most detailed map of the distribution of the so-called dark matter in the universe. The results are a surprise because they show that it is slightly smoother and more spread out than the current best theories predict. The observation appears to stray from Einstein's theory of general relativity, posing a conundrum for researchers. The results have been published by the Dark Energy Survey collaboration. Dark matter is the invisible substance that permeates space and accounts for 80% of the matter in the universe. Astronomers were able to work out where it was because it distorts light from distant stars. The greater the distortion, the greater the concentration of dark matter. Dr. Noel Jeffrey of École Normale Supérieure in Paris, I murdered that, who pieced the map together, more Italian, I was doing it more Italian, said that the result posed a real problem for physics. If this disparity is true, then maybe Einstein was wrong. No, he was wrong, but he was right, because he should have included the ether, and he'd have been right, wouldn't he? But then all of the other shit would have been wrong, right? Everything else they said, and of course, he deleted it, didn't he? He got rid of it from the equation, therefore becoming, you know, world's most famous scientist. Oh dear, he sold his soul. I'm telling you, he sold his soul. What a disgraceful man indeed. He told the BBC News, right, you might think that this is a bad thing, that maybe physics is broken, but to a physicist, it's extremely exciting. It means that we can find out something new about the way the universe really is, while completely ignoring all the other evidence that proves that, you know, it's not what we're told. Professor Carlos Fenk of Durham University, who was one of the scientists that built on the work of Albert Einstein and others, developed the current cosmology theory, said he had mixed emotions on hearing the news. Yeah, it's called the Kubler-Ross model, mate. Yeah, you're going through denial and anger. Yeah, because your entire career is based on a lie. In fact, every single person at the university needs to suck it up because their entire career is based on a foundation of lies. Every single one of them. Stomach cringes, blah de la de la. This is the map from it, apparently. So there we go. Oh, there were 10. I reckon they're 10 off. 3,600 years after the Big Bang. Bollocks. Big Bang don't exist. Big Bang don't happen. Because that's not how creation started. There's another book. You know, if you're interested in this type of stuff, The Kraken, The Cosmic Egg, New Constructs of Mind and Reality. But again, I guarantee you reread this, right? If you do read it, we read it before, let me know. And is it about the Big Bang? I bet it is. Guarantee it is. Big Bang's fallacy. It's been proven wrong. Do you understand? A model for the universe, the cosmic egg. And if you're into mathematics, they go into that you know. Right? Again, more to read, more to understand that their models incorporate a egg shape or oval shaped universe, which is wrong, by the way. Of course. So, where did it come from, Big Bang? Birthed from the cosmic egg. Okay? The reason why they're showing you the universe as an oval rather than a perfect circle, which probably should be, still, as I showed you my blueprints, right, just then, is because they love to use truth and lies, don't they, for an agenda. So, Big Bang birth from cosmic egg. Please read this. A pagan story of origins. Please read this. Right? 1927. Oh look, Roman Catholic priests. Does go back much further than that, as we know, the Copernican and Freemasonry. Been around 300 odd years. They celebrated their 300th anniversary not long ago. Go and look at the signs and symbols they do. Yeah, on the stage. And the stage itself, the black and white tiled floor, the all-seeing eye in the pyramid, the square in the compass, yeah, the hand gestures, symbolisms, Freemasonry and secret societies. Because signs and symbols rule the world, folks. And the cosmic egg is a lie. Because it's based on the Big Bang, which is a lie. Because it's been proven wrong. Because of a thing called the axis of evil, which they're now completely ignoring in favour of what? This, still. They don't give up, do they? Ever. No, neither should we. Hence the video. I don't give up. It's been a while since I've tried to, done this type of thing, but I'm still trying to do it. I'm not giving up. The Big Bang is a joke. It didn't happen. Yeah? There is a beginning, and it involves understanding reality of water and the truth about geological principles and how this place is much bigger. The Earth is much bigger, therefore it can't be what they said it is. Things aren't millions of years old because of petrification. Right? Things went from titans, giants to man, etc. 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 All the things that prove it all a lie, you need to know and affirm it, yeah, to be so. Otherwise, you're going to fall for traps like this still. Thinking, oh, right, okay, the universe is created, but it's an oval shape. Everything's based on the perfect circle and sacred geometry, though. How can it be so? It's not the truth. The Dyson Sphere. Another ideology based on the current cosmological principles that there is sun out there with Well, you can read it yourself if you want to read it, but you know I've just told you everything's based on a lie. However, there are things out in space, let's say, in the waters of heavens, that certainly have their own trajectory, their own capability of going in the directions they want, and they certainly are spherical in shape. And I was shown a blueprint spiritually, you know, a vision of one of these things. And obviously, at the time, I was thinking about Nibiru. So, Nibiru is most definitely something to do with Death Star in the heavens, and their evidence, right, for this Dyson sphere hypothesis could be actually evidence of some kind of other object out there that's the same, similar in nature, say, like a spherical sphere, a sphere for sure, yeah, a sphere, metal sphere, okay, that's got which is majorly compartmentalized to have advanced civilization living in it, what in the heavens of space. Okay. As for the actual Dyson spheres existing, no, because space is based on a lie, yeah. But their tech and the things they say might be still based on something truthful. Do you get me? You can't diss everything as a lie, because they use truth and lies for an agenda. Obviously, I know their agenda, innit? You know? Which is scary. We gotta do something about it, man. It's either we take out the Internet of Things, or it takes us out. We got no choice. We got no choice, right? It's either that or we come in mass and we leave. Which we're gonna have to do anyway. For a bit. There we go. Solid metal sphere seen by witnesses in Independence, Missouri. Now this is a UFO description. So girlfriend and best friend and I were driving down 40 highway going west to Conoco every day on 40 highway next to the tool shed bar. As we were passing the Phillips 66 gas station by the Lake Tapawingo fire station, I looked up in the sky as I normally do, sky watching. I, along with my girlfriend who was driving and my best friend in the back seat, witnessed what appeared to be a solid metal sphere of some kind. I have only seen something like this once before, and I saw it above Blue Springs South High School about the same time frame around a month ago. The only way I can really describe this object is the Vatican's gold sphere statue that sits in the middle of the courtyard. I witnessed this object along with my girlfriend and my best friend for approximately 32 to 35 seconds in broad daylight at 4:22 p.m. to 4:23 p.m. on December 10th, 2012. It appeared before I could even get my camera, obviously. It's quick, 35 seconds. But it's just what I'm trying to say is that, alright, there may be smaller. This could represent a Dyson sphere to them, or it could represent advanced technologies like Nibiru, you know, UFOs. Well, craft, basically. So we're on the last page. And this is the joke of the day, right? Please bear in mind, right, every single image you see of Mars, right, is based on what? The perfect circle. Now, I haven't actually showed you any evidence of the stars, have I? From being filmed by high-level cameras or telescopes. That is on you to do so. To see what actually Mars is. To see that, oh, it's in water and it's sound, vibration and energy. And you can never land on it. Like Matey said right at the beginning about the moon. This here apparently is a new map of Mars's gravitational Mars's gravity. Why the fuck are they representing it in a spheroid oblate, oval, egg shape, when Mars is meant to be circular? Something's off already. Don't forget, yeah, you know what it looks like apparently. The CGI image of Mars. It's a red planet, yeah? You've been indoctrinated enough to know what it looks like. How the fuck is that Mars? Why is it oblated? Doesn't make no sense, does it? No. So if Mars doesn't exist, what is this? It's a good question, and more research, isn't it? If you already know, oh, please tell me. I have very little time to dig around these days because I've got full-time work, and to dig around is full-time work. But I want to dig around for a living, so I need money to do, for now, while I'm doing full-time work, to get the equipment together so then I can actually dig around for a living as an archaeologist, a historian, etc. I've actually proved my other research that I've done. Eventually, with metal detectors and the like. Hopefully, some aerial photography. I've got a drone. But unfortunately, you need a license today, so that's another £1,000. And everything's going up, isn't it? And we're getting less for our money. Again, shrinkflation. Most of the stuff that you buy anyway, you shouldn't eat or drink to begin with. It's the problem. Why people can't think clearly. So I wonder where this is actually in the world, knowing that I've just showed you that there's other places in the world. It's probably much bigger. The hiding landmass is from us. I wonder what this is. I wonder if this is an image of Earth. Well, duh, of course it is. Just like the Curiosity rovers on Earth, and all the Viking rovers got found out to be on Earth. All the other evidence out there that they say is evidence is not evidence. They lie and lie. They lie. They lie with stats. They lie like shit like this. With some truth. In your face. That is the end of this video. I'm sorry for ranting so long about everything. It is just the way it is. It has to be done, you know. I'm going to do a lot more short videos, trust me, soon. Just to, you know, put it out there. If you did learn something in this video and you're still listening, thank you. I appreciate it very much. And hopefully, if you live in the UK, I hope, and you are awake and like me, I hope to see you one day. Yes, for sure. We are in a minority, I'm afraid, for now. So they keep pushing for division. More chaos out to come. I did try and say that we're heading for extremely hard times in the next 10 years, back 2 years ago. So, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Remember now, being positive, love each other, and be righteous in knowing that we know the truth, that they lied to us, that because of those lies, they've put weapons of mass destruction up around us, okay? And that we need to do something about it. We're at war, okay, with the Zionist military-industrial complex. We need a military leader and an army to fight this agenda. And even then, they're going to ensure in the robots, aren't they? Because if we don't take out the Internet of Things, that's what's coming after it. So what we need to know is this war we're facing is a war on ideologies and infrastructure. We can't approach this and do it correctly without the need of harming others in a way. But can you see that happening? No. Not when they're censoring us and rounding up people soon enough. All in the name of science and health and our safety, of course. As we build the concentration camps for money, moving towards a digital currency. Scary times, folks. But we can deal with it. That's what we're here for. We chose this mission. We chose to be here. I hope to see you soon. Please share, like and subscribe. Till next time. Thank you.